Nothing feels like home. I'm so alone, trying to find my way back home to you. I'm so alone. Nothing feels like home. I'm so alone, trying to find my way back home to you.
Here I am again, floating through the silence in my cold skin. My body is wearing thin. My fears tell me I'll never win. My body is wearing thin. And there's darkness here, the whole world I fear. And my room I seem to drown. But I won't let them take me down. I won't let them take me down. I won't let them take me down, down, down. I won't let them take me down.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the summer season of VGL, Vainglory League. My name is Scoundrel, and I will be bringing you all the hosted action here at Vainglory League over the next few weeks. We have 3 weeks of exciting competition coming your way. We've got 32 teams now, so we've cut the crop down, making sure we bring the absolute best games at the very start of things as well, so it's going to be fantastic. And joining me along the way, I will have Dowsey and Tasty Bacon for this split. Dowsey, an old regular, Tasty Bacon has had appearances too. Gentlemen, I'll start with you. Dowsey, how are you feeling today?
Really hyped, Scoundrel. It's you know that like a season has started when Challenger Series gets underway as well. Usually we have it happen the week before the VG8 gets kicked off, but due to some of the timings and schedulings on the update, unfortunately we did get pushed back a week. But really looking forward to see which one of these European teams has it to try and take it to the VG8.
Yeah, I'm just getting these teams ready to go in this next game. We just have one of the teams who seem to be swapping their roster around every 5 seconds, but they do have a big roster, so they can and are allowed to do that. Tasty Bacon, my friend over in America, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's bright and early over here, but I am ready for some European Challenger action. Possibly going to be seeing, maybe a team that's going to end up in the Vainglory 8 this season play. Even today, we might be able to see the next and upcoming talent for Vainglory.
Absolutely. Well, let's have a look at what's coming up today before we jump into this game. We do have it ready now, so the draft will be coming away for our first game of the day, and that is going to be between Team Midgets and Viet Gold. We're then going to have Team Queso versus eSuper Intel, a fantastic game, and then we'll have an elimination match right at the final game of the day. That's to be announced yet. We'll find out what those teams are as we go on. But let's jump straight into the draft phase and get this one underway. Gentlemen, both of these teams are ready.
Both these teams being Team Midgets and Viet Gold, the 15th versus 18th seed, so pretty much middle of the pack here at Scoundrel, of the predicted skill level that these teams will bring against each other. Absolutely.
I'm just checking that my draft client has not completely died. I don't know about you, gentlemen. Is it all fine for you?
It's died for us as well.
Okay, well, I think that might be a client issue.
I disconnected and relaunched the game, and I'm in the draft just fine.
Okay, well, that's what we'll do as well. We'll just make sure. Sometimes we do get issues with the Vainglory draft client. Sometimes it can be a little bit funny, especially in private games. But usually we're absolutely fine. We just want to make sure we get through.
It looks like the players are fine. It was just the spectators that
had
the issue.
out.
So because they're banning away Grumpjaw and Baron both being taken off the board, which is entirely expected, especially after this past weekend's Vainglory 8.
Yeah, I think none of us are surprised, especially those of us playing at the sort of the Vainglorious levels right now, that Grumpjaw and Baron pretty much are the standard solo queue go-to bans, and I think that's translated to competitive as well, Dowsey.
Yeah, and the huge thing about this is in VG8 we see a double ban system at Scoundrel, but here in the Challenger series it's actually still single ban, which means that 2 of those secondary OP picks that teams in the VG8 have been prioritizing are now left open for these teams to grab.
Grace, not available this week, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, will not be available and should be enabled next week. We will be going to a 2-ban system, I believe, for the playoff bracket. So if you're interested about a 2-ban system for VGL, that will be happening in the playoff bracket once we've got through the first set of games and had some elimination matches take place. And Tasty Bacon, looks like we have an Arden and a Finn prioritization here. Arden I'm not surprised about, but immediately locked in Finn here for Viet Gold. How do you feel about that?
I'm actually okay with that. We saw Finn a few times in Vainglory 8 this weekend and had some great success. It may be one of those issues where it hasn't been seen for some time, so players aren't quite used to the timing of trying to block those Finn hooks from the brush. But either way, the draft is actually going very quickly, as it is Batiste and Vox then locked in for the side of Team Midgets.
I hear you are a Batiste convert now, Tasty Bacon, after listening to Sweet Generous.
I mean, you can't argue with the numbers that get output from a Batiste when he gets rolling. It's absolutely massive.
And not only that, he's super strong into Samuel right now. So picking
and into
Samuel,
Glaive.
Into Glaive as well.
Yeah.
High mobility or just people who are these range CP pokers seem to struggle against Batiste at this moment. So really favoring this this composition drafted by Team Midgets.
Well, we are jumping into the game, ladies and gentlemen, and that means it's time for me to unfortunately take a back seat, but we have Dalsey and Tasty Bacon taking that pedal to the metal. Gentlemen, first game of VGL, take it away.
Thank you very much, Scoundrel. And like I mentioned, Tasty Bacon, a very solid team composition coming out of Team Midget. Something that we saw actually used in the VG8 multiple times. This Arden Batiste Fox combination, just so much lockdown and so much damage.
Yeah, and it also just really sets up the Vox to be able to hard carry from the back lines without really being in any sort of danger during the fights. So it'll be interesting to see if Team Midgets can play this composition up to its potential.
For sure. Over on the B-side, Viet Gold, Tony 221. We'll just refer to him as Tony from now on. Playing this lane Glaive, European flavor of the month, it seems, after Techno JJ really popularized it over BG8.
Yeah, it's another pick that is very popular right now in both regions, really. It's starting to gain a lot of popularity. It's a very strong pick, is able to help control the lane a bit. You can find some early kills as long as your team rotates up when you want to go in with those afterburns. And if they can avoid getting locked down by this Batiste, the Glavekin is one of the ones that can easily get onto that back line and get into Vox's face and harass him.
And what makes Glaive so strong right now is the updates to Tension Bow and the popularity that it is right now. We are playing on 2.6 for anyone wondering. This is some of the first competitive gameplay on 2.6 and a fight breaking out in the middle of the map as it looks like it's Team Midgets on the back end. He is struggling and that's going to be first blood going over to Steve. Bowie Prey trying to get one back for himself, trying to root everyone up in that Elder Tree, but is unsuccessful. Perhaps could get a kill onto the Samuel, but it's very unlikely, and he will be going down. 2 kills over to Viet Gold.
Yeah, Viet Gold's going to be very, very happy with that start. 2 kills and going to get the Ancient Treant for their troubles. And that's one of the things that's difficult. Batiste, while he is very strong, has a ton of damage output, he's very, very squishy, has a very low health pool. And Samuel at level 2 is extremely powerful. Once he has that drifting dark and can get those empowered malice and verdicts, he can chunk through health in a hurry.
Yeah, for sure. It's something you have to really pay attention to is the level 2, level 3 Samuel power spike. We see so many ganks successful just by using it. And you can see this kind of build that Trung Bui has gone down. Or Trunji Bui, I think we'll go with Trung Bui. The triple crystal bit, he's just trying to optimize the amount of damage efficiently for the cheapest amount of gold that he can output at these early levels.
Yeah, and the build paths are going to be very interesting to keep our eyes on. Of course, with this being 2.6, there were a few changes to some of the core meta items, but it does look like in the lane, Vox is still going to be going for that Poison Shiv as his first tier 3. And Trung Bui is definitely doing a lot of damage with these malice and verdicts when they connect.
Yeah, for sure. It's this early start for him. He is a level 4. Ordained does go down. Looks like it's onto Tony, but no one's really too worried about the Batiste at this moment. Portgas going to have to try a little bit harder if he wants to have an impact on a gank next time. Is coming back towards the lane. Perhaps we'll just decide to try and farm this Elder Treant as he's got a bit of an opportunity as Trung Boy goes into the backs of his jungle.
And that's going to be, right now, definitely a clear advantage for Viet Gold as they have about a 700 gold lead or so. Not a massive lead, but still, they're the ones that seem to be finding slightly better rotations, although right now is a chance for Team Midge to get some good pressure on the lane. But with the Samuel rotating back up, they're going to say, you know what? Let's not stick around any longer than we have to and try and get this gold going. You're just going to see Vox rotate down to the shop, finish off that Poison Shiv. So he is the first one to a tier 3 item. But right behind him now is going to be that Glaive rotating down. See where Glaive decides to go for a first time. It's going to be the Sorrow Blade. So just a bit more damage coming out from the side of Viet Gold than what is available to Team Midgets.
Yeah, a lot of damage. Sorrowblade's really going to pack a punch for Tony here. We'll have to see if he's able to afterburn Noah into a compromising position. That's really the setup that Viet Gold have, is this glaive afterburn, knock a priority target out of position and allow Trung Boy to really just cut through them. Lots of damage though going down on Trung Boy as Noah sustains. Ordain going to catch him in the wall and Trung Boy could be in trouble. He goes down. That's going to be Noah picking up a kill. Tony feared and he's not going to escape the auto attack. A double kill comes through for Noah, and that is going to be Team Midgets fighting back.
Yeah, the power of this Batiste and Vox able to get that combo off. The fear came out big, and now Steve Buey is going to be trying to defend this turret and will be able to do so successfully. So that's a little bit of good news there for Viet Gold, as they aren't going to be losing out too much. But just like that, this gold differential is pretty much even once more.
Yeah, for sure. That's the power of the level 6. The ultimates come out. You basically just utilize the fact that there was an experience deficit. Trung Bui, he spent a lot of time in the jungle attempting to, in the lane attempting to gank, whilst Portgas, after the early loss of the fight around the Elder Tree Ant, decided, you know what, I'm going to hard farm, get my experience, get my gold, and try and find a window of opportunity. Team Midgets executed on that perfectly.
They really did. And you can see the difference in the CS numbers. That's what's caused that experience difference we were talking about. You got 32 to 29 in the jungle, despite the early jungle win from Trung Bu. So it's well played by Team Midgets. Now they're looking for more.
Yeah, that's going to be Ordain catching out. Noah in a bit of trouble. That's going to be Oblivion putting to sleep this Arden, and that's got Portgas afterburned out. Noah's trying to dance around the fight, perhaps made a bit of more you can shoot. Quibble was slow, and that's going to be a kill going over. A double kill, in fact, as Viet Gold fight back, and an aggression coming out of Team Midgets just wasn't strong enough.
It really wasn't, but also that Oblivion was really, really nice. It completely split the team. The only way Portgas had to get out of the Oblivion was to walk back towards the rest of the team, and it put him in a bad spot. With Arden getting put to sleep, he wasn't able to use his Fountain of Renewal until after he woke up, and by that point, it was too late to save the Batiste, and the 2-on-3 situation, Viet Gold was able to just finish cleaning up, but now Trung Bu trying to make his way back into the lane, realizes he has to go the long way around. Not going to be too much of an issue as long as he's going to get stunned up, but he should be okay.
Look at the item disparity. Despite the fact Team Midgets are pushing here, trying to get something back, you got Frostburn completed for Trung Bui. Obviously, this Sorrowblade was already there for Tony. Now onto the Poison Shiv after that fight. And you look across the pond over towards Team Midgets. They just don't have the items. Now we will see Portgas finish that Shatter Glass, and the Sorrowblade comes through for Noah, which means that Team Midgets will be on a more equal footing for the next team fight. But 2,000 gold has been accumulated purely just due to these item spikes.
Yeah, taking the turret off of that ace was absolutely massive. Got another 1,000 gold into the pockets of Viet Gold. That's really one of the reasons why they have that big lead, is if you can find an opportune team fight, it's about the timing of it and what you can take after the fact. I mean, when we saw Team Midgets get their kills, they didn't gain anything off of it. They got like half the turret's health, and that was about it. Whereas Viet Gold, when they found the early kills, they were able to take the Ancient Treant. When they found that ace, they took a turret. So they're just doing a better job of finding objectives after they win a fight.
For sure. And that is the essential part of Vainglory, is finding objectives as quickly as possible. Now Evo Harvest picked up for Trung Bui means that Viet Gold can look for some sustained fights with this Samuel. Oh, huge pull in, and Noah is just going to get destroyed. Fountain to try and keep him alive. Pops the boots. Gauntlet Wars, that's huge. They can turn this around. Team Midget's going to go back in, and they're going to pick up Tony for their efforts. Now a 3 versus 2 health bars. Okay, they might even be able to get a turret here, but they have to be careful. Trung Bui can lay down a lot of hurt with that Malice Inverted. You can see Noah's already starting to feel the worst end of it. No ultimate available, though, for this Samuel. The Oblivion is off cooldown. Viet Gold not going to have a massive engage potential. It's going to be really Team Midgets making a mistake like that. Noah takes the turret shot. Oh, he just about survives, but here comes Tony looking for the kill. Afterburns the wrong person, but that's actually going to work out perfectly. A triple kill Tony and Viet Gold. Wow, that is a turnaround.
Absolutely. I mean, I thought it was going to go the way of Team Midgets because when that fight started, it was a beautiful ordained from Portgas that got the stun onto Tony as he tried to afterburn in, but they stuck around way, way, way too long. Tony respawns, comes back into the fight, and you say wrong target. I think Tony would have a word to say with you on that one as they get that triple kill. Beautiful job by Viet Gold, able to reclaim that team fight from the rubble of what was a lost fight just moments ago.
I think I would stick by my words. I think that he was possibly looking for an afterburn onto Noah, but the situation worked out fantastically nonetheless. Viet Gold going to be okay. Steve Bowie sitting in this tri-bush all by himself. He is clearly having some connection issues, and Team Midgets have surrounded him. Very unfortunate, but you have to secure your own connection. That is the rules of the game. And Oblivion will put 2 to sleep. Team Midgets, they're going to look to try and execute, and Tony is in a lot of trouble. Blocks the silence, Tony. Blocks the fear, but can he escape? They're going on to Trung Bowie. He will fall, and this should just be an easy turret pickup here. Unless Tony has something to say, or Dane traps him yet. That was a mistake, and that's the ace that Team Midgets needed.
Yeah, but again, they need to make sure that they take this turret. Their minions were so far away. They are still going to be able to take it because it is so low. But an ace and just only being able to take like a fifth of the turret's health, that's not really an ideal situation. And it's set up, they're going to be able to get the Crystal Sentry. This makes it a lot more worthwhile. But the setups from Viet Gold are making it so that when they do go down in these fights, there's not really much left. The objectives have already been taken by them. They already took the gold miner earlier. The lane was so far pushed up that they weren't able to get a significant push in the lane either after taking an ace. So Viet Gold is just actually playing this really, really well in terms of the objective and the macro game.
When you look at Gold, 400 separates everyone, so it's clear that these teams are neck to neck. It's almost a bit of a seesaw action, Tasty. One guy's go up, the other guy's turn to go down, and they repeat. But we'll have to see whether or not one of these teams can start to break the cycle and look to attempt to push their advantage. I do feel like Team Midgets have a very strong team fighting ability, but perhaps lack some macro knowledge to really execute. They're going to run into Viet Gold here, but can they turn this around? That's a lot of damage going to Portgas, and he's going to block the Oblivion, but he's going extremely low. Tony jumps in onto Noah, trying to take him out. Noah, though, is going to be able to find the kill, and that's going to be Gauntlet separating the team. They're going to look for Trung Boy. Noah going forward, or Dane stuns up, and that's a kill going over to Noah. Steve Boy going to try and get out, but it's not going to happen. Oh, he is going to get out for now. Team Midget's not going to chase down.
And your assessment seems to be spot on here, Tauzi. These team fights, when they go on without a hitch, like when it's just a straight up 3 versus 3 team fight, it seems like Team Midgets has the advantage. They're able to pop this glaive. Portgas, his ordains have been really, really well placed. These gauntlets have been put in great positions as well. They're isolating Tony, taking him down, and then cleaning up afterwards. That's a nice cold mine steal.
It is, but can they get away? It's going to be Fearsome Shay. They're going to chase this down. How many people will lose their lives? Looks like Noah might lose his life to this Samuel. They're going to re-engage this Viet Gold. Fountain popped at the perfect timing to keep Portgas alive, but maybe Prey will go down for his team as Team Midgets don't look like they want to re-engage here. Noah, low energy. He's going to take a brunt of this damage. They're trying to take people down. Tension Bow picked up by Tony as they walk past. Noah gets away with half a second. Can he escape? Oh, he can! Can he continue the escape is this question. Looks like he's just outside of the range. Dane goes down. Portgas going to try and trap this Samuel, and somehow everyone from Team Midgets escapes with their life bars intact, except for Portas as he decides to overstay.
And this has been kind of the continuing story of this. They overstay their welcome. They don't really have the...
What is this? Noah's what's he doing? Oh, wait for it. That's going to silence everyone. Noah, he has the moves, but can he stay alive? No, he cannot. That's going to be him falling. 1 kill goes over to him. Prey going to try and escape this Samuel, but you can't escape. Point blank malice and verdicts will be able to walk away for now. This is a crazy back and forth experience here, Tasty.
Crazy back and forth experience, but one that Viet Gold is coming out on top of. Again, their objective play is just a bit better than Team Midgets. The team fights definitely seem to go to the way of Team Midgets when they're an even footing. I mean, that was a 2 versus 3 that Team Midgets almost turned into a team fight win, but they lose out on a turret once more. They are going to be behind in the objective game. There's about a 2,500 gold lead or so for the side of Viet Gold as Kraken awakens. And this is where things start to get really important. I really want to see Trungbu on the Samuel get himself a reflex block because he's been caught in quite a few ordains as well. But here we go, 3-on-3 fight. It could break out at any moment.
Could. I'm expecting it to happen, Tasty. These teams are bloodthirsty. They're out to try and take each other down. Team Midgets making a couple of crucial mistakes. The Ordain will fall down, but they need to use that to trap up Tony when he goes in for the afterburn. It's so crucial, keeping that kitty cat locked down because he has no escape tools after he goes in. Tony going to look for a huge damage onto this Baptiste. Throws out the fearsome shade. Gauntlet walls go down, but that's going to be Portas just about escaping for now. The Fountain might be able to keep him alive, but Trung Bui has different thoughts. He's going to stick in the fight. That will be his demise. Now Noah is all by himself as Prey's going to be the main target. Noah trying to stutter step his way to victory, but he's being focused down by so many. Prey's going to fall here. Noah is going to get quibbled on down, and the attack speed slow as well. And Noah in a 1 versus 3 eventually is going to lose his life.
And it all comes back to that ordained that was thrown out at the very start of that. It almost felt like Porkas was trying to force something while he had that heroic perk boost active. And as a result, they threw out the ordained. The rest of Viet Gold was having none of it. They waited until I was down and then made their engagement while the huge ability was not available. And that was why they were able to turn that fight and win that fight pretty decisively. They're going to go ahead, take the Kraken. And so now they have the opportunity to push in towards... Oh, Porkas has caught Tony doing a lot of damage, but Porkas will be able to get himself out to safety.
Wasn't expecting Tony to be all the way up there already. Usually teams go and shop, don't they, before the Kraken. But Tony was out to just try and find an easy kill, and that kill could have been pretty detrimental to Team Midgets if Porkas had died. About 30 seconds on the cooldown would have meant a free as heck choke point turret. Not that it won't be too difficult, I think. It's going to be a pull in. Portgas in a lot of trouble. Can he escape? No, he can't. Fountain too late. Noah's now on the wrong side of the base, and he's going to try and silence people to escape, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. He gets squibbled. He's going to try and go very low, and he's going to fall. Eventually, Prey doing his best to keep him alive, but he just gets knocked around. Finds 1 kill. The sustain is there. Perhaps he can do it. Energy's not there. He's got the kite. Yeah. He's got this. He's got this for sure. 1 more auto attack. He takes down Tony. Oh, the good reflex block, and that will be it. Reflex block coming up king, and with those death timers down, the Kraken in the base. Only Portgas going to be alive for this initial defense. It looks like Viet Gold are going to go for the finish.
Yeah, now that's one way to deal with an ordained. If he puts it on you, just pull the Baptiste into your team, so you don't have to worry about leaving the zone of effect. Oh, nice afterburn will keep Portgas out of the sanctuary, but here comes the rest of the respawns, perhaps. And I don't think it's going to be enough in time, though, because this Kraken is still rather healthy.
No, he's up. He's going to wait for it out. Oh, he's trying to take down Tony. If he can take down Tony, he has a chance, but it's just not going to be there. Game 1 of this first VGL Summer Season series goes over to Viet Gold.
And again, early on, it was the macro play from Viet Gold, the objective focus, able to get themselves a gold lead, and then using that gold lead in the team fights, and a couple of just slight seconds off from being able to turn team fights in favor of Team Midgets. I mean, it was very, very small plays that ended up costing them things that aren't even necessarily mistakes, but just small. I'm completely at a loss for the word that I want.
I think I would call some of these things mistakes. There was a lot of overextension, Scoundrel.
Yeah.
Early on, yeah.
I think you're right. I think eventually Tony realized exactly how he had to play these fights because of how good Ordained is against Glaive. You can't use Afterburn as a glaive against a Baptiste, especially one that seems to be ahead, as an isolation tool. Usually you use glaive to pick off a target and then you knock that target into the team to be blown up. But it's a little bit more difficult to do that when you, as a glaive, are a primary damage dealer in the form of your weapon power build. You are the burst damage, realistically, compared to Samuel. Samuel's not going to be able to finish targets off if you isolate them as quickly as you would be if you were the one doing the damage. So eventually Tony realised, I have to be there to execute. Like, I don't actually commit with my Afterburn unless I can get a kill, or at least I can get as good as I can get to a kill. And eventually, once they figured that out, it was, it was better for them. But I think, again, a lot of mistakes made there, especially by Team Midgets, overextensions, staying too long. Kind of classic EU in a nutshell, you have to say, Dalsey.
I think EU is typically known for not taking risks, at least at the highest level of Vainglory.
I feel like EU is known for staying around too long.
But we definitely saw massive overextensions from Team Midgets. They consistently gave up any advantages they had by trying too hard to secure objectives. That was where we saw massive turnarounds of Viet Gold. I think I would have said that some of the Ordain usage by Portgas was too proactive. Often in MOBAs, you want to be proactive, but Ordained is such a great reactive ability, especially against Glaive, because as soon as he does go in for that afterburn, you pop the Ordained down, or you on him as quickly as possible to try and trap him and try and stun him as he tries to take down your carry. So maybe just a change in attitude from Team Midgets, and they could have a bit more of an even chance at taking a game.
Absolutely. Well, that was a very interesting first game of the season here at the VGL Summer Split 1. We are going to be getting into the next game very quickly. One of the teams has just requested a 1-minute pause. I believe that was Team Midgets. Oh no, I've been told that we are good to go. Yeah, we are good to go. So we are going to get this one underway. I'm just going to get a double check from their opposition, Viet Gold, and see if they are ready to move into this game as well. As actually they haven't actually responded to me, so I will just make sure that the score is right, which, by the way, it wasn't. No one noticed. And we'll just make sure they're ready.
Yeah, Team Midgets didn't win that game. It was
no, they didn't.
Gold.
So it's been a while since I've done the updating on this wonderful thing that I've got going on here to produce the stream. Yeah, both teams are ready, so let's get this underway. This is going to be the next game of the series between Team Midgets and Viet Gold. What do we expect to see changed here? Is there any adaptations you'd make in draft, Tasty Bacon?
I don't know if they necessarily need to make the changes in the draft. I think the draft was very solid from both teams. I mean, Dowsey and I both liked the draft that Team Midgets had brought to the table. It was just the execution, especially around the mid game, was what was really lacking for them. And so we're going to once again see Grumpjaw, Baron, Band. I would be surprised if this changes at any point throughout the day. It's just those two heroes are pretty much considered to be far above and beyond every other hero in the game at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Baron, Grumpjaw, every ranked game I play a Scoundrel, that's the bands I have in it. We are going to see Viet Gold prioritize the Finn once more. One thing I would say about their Finn play from the previous game was there was a lack of coordination around their Finn. They would sometimes use their Quibble at the same time as Afterburn on the same target, so one of those abilities would end up becoming wasted. So that's a slight criticism that I had on micro ability, but a difference here from Team Midgets.
So I mean, what do you make of this Finn prioritization? Because it's something that I haven't seen a lot of, especially over in the top level sort of European ladder. We don't see a lot of Finn prioritization. Arden for sure. I definitely see a lot of first pick Ardens because Arden is such a safe captain to pick quite early on in your rotation because again he is so adaptable. But I mean, is it something that we've been seeing in professional play, Dalsey?
Yeah, no, in the VG8 for Europe, we saw Finn being locked in for the likes of Justman, for the likes of Net to Let, Fnatic, and a Mouse prioritizing this Finn in their drafts. So clearly, the top European teams are considering that Finn is a worthy first pick for their drafts.
Yeah, absolutely. Tasty, we're going to see the rest of these drafts come through. Jewel making an appearance here for Viet Gold. How does that shake you up?
I mean, I'm a big fan of Jewel. I don't know if she's necessarily strong enough to be considered one of the meta picks, but she's a lot of fun to watch. at the very least. And that's why I like seeing it picked up here, especially because it's going to be the weapon jewel. So lots of damage coming out from those Thunder Strikes as long as you can position properly. But against a Sky Lyra Blackfeather, that's going to be a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, absolutely. If there was one pick that I've always liked into Finn, I often like picking Sky, especially with Frostburn. He's such a big target. He can very easily soak up those full forward barrages, and also becomes quite a nice target for you to Suri strike around. Big target that you can lock onto easily. So I think it's something that I often like picking up into the Finn. Darcy, I know you like to sort of have a look at these compositions, especially when we get something a little bit unique like a duel come through. Do you think Team Midgets have got a composition that's got what it takes to take down and level this series?
I think that their glaive play was less than optimal. It was definitely not bad, but I think that Jewel kind of offers a similar thing of glaive without the reposition of the afterburn, which might be helpful to Viet Gold in making sure their quibbles have their full effect.
Cool. Well, that's me done. I'm off. It's now time for Darcy and Tasty Bacon to take it away.
And might as well quickly, Tasty Bacon, discuss this this draft from Team Midgets. Completely different. The Black Feather and Lane very strong at the moment. Sky clearly has been strong for quite some time with the pairing of Lyra. Lots of mobility to deal with.
Yeah, a whole lot of mobility, and I'm really liking that level of mobility. I mean, the micro play was, for the most part, was better from Team Midgets during that game, and now they have themselves a composition where they can really let that team fighting decision making show, and that positioning is going to be absolutely key, especially against something like the Jewel, Finn, Samuel. Like all three of those rely on being able to get priority positioning in a team fight in order to have their damage come through. And so Team Midgets, as long as they go properly, they can avoid a lot of damage.
For sure. Well, a fight breaking out here. Sim Bowie looking for his first blood once more, but this time Portgas will not be able to escape. There it is, first blood. Noah is rotating down to provide assistance, but that on point not going to connect. And a very similar mistake coming out of Team Midgets at level 1, going for these big, grand fights against the side of Viet Gold and just being punished for it.
Yeah, and again, it's just a simple fact of you really don't want to be going in on a Samuel Finn. I mean, even though he started with Polite Company, usually you're going to see a Finn start with a Quibble, and that's a ton of damage. And then a Samuel at level 2 is going to win trades against 90% of the heroes in Vainglory. So it's just a little bit of a poor decision once again for Team Midgets.
I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with Tony's ability to be playing this lane 1v2 and actually sustaining through this Lyra. But here comes Portgas to try and execute something. They're going to dive straight onto Tony. That's a good bright ball. They have the damage. Not quite the range, not there to finish the job. Now, Trung Bui coming in, looking for a kill of his own. Prey is going to go very low. Imperial Sigil will heal speed, but it won't keep him alive. That's going to be another kill going over to this. Samuel starting to this game off very nicely, and now they can look to even punish even more. Siege that comes from a level 3 Samuel is really incredibly difficult to deal with.
And then you've got the threat of the Jewel and Finn backing it up if you try and go in on him to stop this siege from happening. But look at the damage again. Portgas taken below half. Prey will be back up in the lane, so they will be able to dissuade any further pushing without really taking too much damage to their turret. But they are going to lose out on a couple of jungle camps instead. So Viet Gold making sure that they get at least something off of the kill onto Lyra.
Really unfortunate there for Viet Gold. They accidentally triggered the turret aggro and then didn't drop it as a unit. They cycled it between them 2 or 3 times, which meant that there was no siege to come out of it. If they had not triggered the turret aggro accidentally and then dropped it quicker, if they were to have aggroed it, then they could have attempted for more damage onto the turret or even perhaps a kill.
I don't know if they would have been able to get the kill on the turret this early on, but definitely could have done some pretty hefty damage to it if that was the case. But that is not, unfortunately. So it gives an opportunity now for Team Midgets to reclaim some control in this lane. And those forward barrages from a Sky onto this Finn does so much damage. I mean, that less than half of that forward barrage actually connected, and it did about a quarter of Steve Booey's health. So it's going to be something that they really need to worry about as this goes further and deeper into this game.
And eventually you're going to get a broken myth onto Portgas, which is going to then make stacking up even easier because it's so difficult for Finn to dodge away from the forward barrages. He's got such a slow base movement speed. He wants to be soaking up damage anyway for the rest of his team, especially a squishy Samuel. But here they go. They're looking for Prey, diving straight on in. Can they get the kill? Prey's going to go very low, and that's going to be a third kill going over to this Samuel. He picks up a fountain in his base, but Portgas trying to find a returner. A series strike, just about able to connect, and he's now trying to escape himself. Noah going to come around the back line. Quiver will slow him down. Can Portgas provide any assistance, or will no just go straight down? He will. Now Portgas perhaps a little bit too close to jump in. That's going to be Portgas falling as well. A double for Tony, gets the return kill towards the end, but that is so much going over to Viet Gold.
And this is looking, I was going to say almost like deja vu with Viet Cong getting themselves a nice lead in the early game, but they're also winning out these team fights. Their rotations have just been on point this game, able to find themselves situations that are advantageous to them, and they're going to just keep that up throughout. And if they can do so, this should be a pretty clean 2-0 for them. But right now, again, the damage starting to come out from this Jewel, rotating up into the lane. Maybe a little bit early for Steve Bowie to show himself, as Trung was about to make his presence there as well. But now they can try and siege up on this turret, see if they can poke with the Samuel. As long as they can avoid those forward barrages, they can really make something happen.
Death from above going to come down. Noah's been taken down to half HP. Prey with a big job ahead of him if he's going to sustain everyone through this with the Imperial Sigil. Has Fountain. Oblivion goes out. They managed to just dodge away, but now they're in a bit of trouble as the Quiver's going to slow. Portgas going to have to let that Fountain heal to stick around, but Viet Gold are practically untouched, and they have their, they don't have their Fountain. In fact, that is why they are so healthy. I missed it go out. He popped it at the same time. It was, and I was focusing hard on Team Midgets.
Well, they did force Portgas away from this turret. Now they can look for some serious damage.
Yeah, serious damage indeed, and they just need to make sure they drop this turret aggro. It's the same mistake they made last time, unless they want to go for the kill. And Noah, goodbye, deletion right there. Tony gonna take a chunk, but Portgas now comes in to try and keep this alive. Watch the damage that'll come out of Trung Bui. He's gonna try and do a lot of work, and he's gonna look for the kill as well. But the death from above gonna keep everyone back for now. Looks like Trung Bui is gonna go with the empowered Malison Verdict, the drifting dart going out. They're gonna look for this turret here, and I don't see any reason they aren't going to get it. This is great macro play coming out of Viet Gold. They recognize their strengths and their advantages, and they get gold for it.
And this Samuel, even though I would like to see Trung Bui move his drifting darts into a way where he can stay in them a lot longer during these siege situations, his malice and verdict accuracy has been really, really good. Just be able to get enough poke and harass damage down so that Tony can jump in and just get the execute by just blowing up a target with a Thunderstrike. And that threat of the Jewel jumping in is enough that when they get low, members of Team Midgets have to back off this turret, and it creates those opportunities for Viet Gold.
Yeah, it's really impressive to see such good Samuel play at this ELO in the Challenger Series. We often find that Samuel, very hard hero to play in competitive due to the fact that he is so vulnerable, but seems like Viet Gold are pretty good at keeping Trung Bui out of trouble, making sure he can output as much damage as possible. Attempted engage, didn't really find anything, but we're going to see this Eve of the Harvest come out. Second item once more for the Samuel means the sustain once more will be pretty high. Looks like it's going to be a little bit different for Portgas, perhaps prioritizing the Broken Myth second so that the stacks onto the Finn can really start hurting the opponent.
All right. Well, right now, the 6-2 lead, it's only about a 2,000 gold lead for the side of Viet Gold, but you see the vision battle starting to really come to fruition. Both of these teams trying to get control over the middle of the map. There's one scout trap left for the side of, just kidding. It just got popped. So there's no scout traps left for the side of Team Midgets.
Tony trying to find an engage onto a black feather. Okay. I don't know why I got intrigued, like as if a kill would happen, because black feather probably a
tough to
fairly
lock down.
slippery hill. Yeah.
But either way, I'm really liking the emphasis on vision that these two teams are putting down. I mean, You've got a lot of money being spent by both captains, but even the junglers have been picking up some sporadic vision here and there just to help out with trying to get this control. And again, that's one of the best ways to keep yourself safe or find opportunities is to control this vision game.
Yeah, for sure. And they are doing a fantastic job of securing vision now that they do have an advantage. They just need to continue pushing it up. That scout trap will alert Noah to the incoming dangers. And you can see Prey attempting to lay down vision here, there, and everywhere as he does go around. But for the most part, Team Midgets are on the back foot, which means that getting meaningful vision is it's almost impossible because Viet Gold will be looking to take it all down. Oh, Oblivion puts Prey to sleep. Portgas able to walk away, but they aren't on the same page. Viet Gold, they wanted to get the gold mine. They wanted to gauge their fight. Communication wasn't quite accurate enough. Now Tony going to be diving in. Good Crucible stops that one from going down. Fountain goes out, and that's going to be him falling. Noah going to continue the chase, and it looks like he's going to just continue going on to this Samuel. Another kill for Noah. Black Feather, so good, and he's looking for a triple. Will be denied by his teammate, but a huge ace for Team Midgets.
Absolutely massive ace for Team Midgets, and a big mistake from Tony jumping in without any defense and without the support of his team. And it just definitely seems like there was maybe a lack of communication on that one, because the rest of the team was looking to go for this gold miner, and Tony was just like, I want some kills, let's go, team. And then was just like, team, where'd you go? It got absolutely deleted. Is gonna get dropped once again. At least that time, trying to steal the gold miner, had a chance at doing so, but nice job moving the gold mine so it didn't actually get caught in that big red button. But this is opportunities being virtually handed to Team Midgets to get back into this game.
Yeah, well, as soon as the Oblivion went down, your major CC lock, that should have been the moment that Viet Gold decided that going for a gold miner wasn't quite the right idea, because they went for the gold miner after using a crucial lockdown ability, zoning ability. It just opened up so much trouble to them, and you really need to understand that if you go for an attempted engage and fail, then that means that you're done for the next remaining of your cooldown. You can't be putting yourself in a vulnerable position such as trying to take a gold miner.
Yeah, that was Tony.
Wow.
Tony.
He's getting blown up, and they're going to continue chasing down. Noah's going to go straight on to the Samuel. Great death from above, going to reposition him. He's in trouble. Fountain won't do enough, and that's him going down. Steve Bowie, he's going to try and use this Crystal Sentry to keep him alive, but it's just going to go down, and I think the Crystal Sentry will probably lose its life eventually as well if Team Midgets decide to focus on it, and they will. That's going to be Crystal Sentry falling. Likely this Tier 2 turret's going to take a huge beating with these empowered minions. Tony trying to come in and prevent it, but it's just not going to happen. That's going to be so much gold being fed over to Team Midgets. They go up by 2,000.
And this is, again, you have to figure the opportunities are being handed to them on the silver platter, but you still have to give credit to Team Midgets for taking that opportunity and running with it. It's we've seen games in the past where teams have been handed chances to get themselves back into a game and they just don't take it, but Team Midgets are absolutely capitalizing on this, and Tony still doesn't seem to be going for any sort of defense. That seems to be a big mistake, especially for a hero that has to be on the front lines in order to do its damage. It's just, I'm going to have to question the build. It's unfortunately, that's the case. That's where we're at right now, where if Tony tries to go in, he just gets deleted.
Huge Crucible going to block up the Force Accord. Noah just destroying this Samuel. He's trying to get out, and perhaps this Fountain will keep him alive. Tony dives in, but Crucible going to stop him. Tony is running away. Trung Bowie is in trouble. The kills are going everywhere, and Steve Bowie, well, he's just a crocodile waiting to be hunted. 3 kills, and ace goes over to Team Midgets, and now they can take the base.
And this is looking more and more like we are going to have a game number 3 in our first Challengers series of the season, as Team Midgets able to find themselves the opportunity. 12-6 now on the scoreboard. This gold lead has just taken off in the last 3 to 4 minutes or so.
For sure. They have massively use this power spike that Noah has found himself in to lock down Trung Bui, and Tony going this full damage build, very reminiscent of Waldemar at London's Western Live Championship. No defense, just jumping in. Well, he has to blow someone up, and that's the only way that works. Oblivion goes down, big red button being channeled, but look at the health bar on Steve Bowie. He is in trouble. Noah does get stunned. Maybe they can take down Noah. Fountain will go out, but Steve Bowie's going to go down to this sky. Portgas gets deleted. They can turn this if they fight together. Noah going to dive onto Tony. He has to face up, and that's going to be the kill. He's looking for a triple. The portal away, and there it is. Triple does come through. And look at the timing, 14:58. Let's say Kraken, because here she comes.
All right, so all of a sudden, Viet Gold gonna look for a chance to return this game around again. And this one is the chances given to them by the side of Team Midgets not focusing Tony. If you don't go after this super squishy Jewel, if you don't take her down right away, the damage output is insane. That's the whole point of this build, is that if the damage is there, it will just chunk people for huge amounts. But it's very easy to just focus on the Jewel. They didn't do this, though. Jewel was just kind of able to sit in the brush, just throwing out thunder strikes, while all the focus was onto Steve Bowie. Even if the Finn is low, you cannot focus on trying to kill this Finn until the Jewel has been taken care of.
Wow, Kraken now unleashed, and Viet Gold looking to... Oh, huge pull in! The Oblivion will it lock them up? Yes, Portgas, but look, they're turning this fight around somehow. Going to go in onto Noah, but look at Trung Bui. He's trying to escape. He can't. Noah just decides, you know what? You pull me in, time to die. And it's going to be Team Midgets finding an ace. A triple kill for Noah. They're going to deal with this Kraken. It gets one turret, but that should be it.
And again, this is one of those instances where I didn't miss my reflex block. I engaged with the enemy Finn hook. That is exactly what Team Midgets just did there. They got pulled in, but all three members of the side of Viet Gold were grouped up, and that made Tony an easy target for them to just take out immediately. It's, again, just when you go for these hooks, you need to be careful that you are not putting your team in a disadvantageous situation. If you pull all three members of the opposing team, yeah, it looks nice at first, but then if your entire team is all grouped up, you realize, oh no, I can't protect my carries any longer, and they just got deleted.
Incredible. Noah, just look at his scoreline, 9-3-6, a huge carry threat, but Portgas also, now with a broken map, is going to be ripping through the health bars. And Viet Gold, they're going to be thinking, man, we got a 3-man hook and we got destroyed because of it. Let's see what we can do this time. Lots of damage onto this Samuel. He's going to start healing up. Big red button doesn't really do much on weapon power Jewel, so it is more just for a bit of poke to try and start the fight. Steve Bowie, he wants to pull them in, but he doesn't want to repeat. Crucible will block, but it wasn't going to hit anyway. Polite Company going out. They're diving straight in. Portgas takes a huge bunch of damage, and now they're going to try and turn onto him. They're split up. Tony, he's jumped right in. Tony with the fountain, but it won't be enough. Now Trung Bui has to try and escape. He's just getting destroyed right through. A double for Noah again, and Noah's going to look for his triple. Portgas just going to jump on over, and it is a triple. An ace for Team Midgets, and I feel like Tony's Jewel perhaps could be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, it definitely looks to be that way. Every single team fight, if Tony goes down first, Team Midgets win the fight. Period. End of story. And with 10 seconds left before Tony's going to come back up, they're not afraid of just Tony on his own. They're going to look to end this game, Dowsy.
It's turrets going down. This is it. Tony is going to dive in. He's going to try and kill them all, but it's just no way he does the job before the Vein Crystal goes down. There it is. Game 2 going over to Team Midgets, and some question marks perhaps over this Jewel pick. Tony definitely had some results, and I'm not going to say it was terrible, but he almost ran away from the fights too often, and Jewel's heroic perk does not allow for that.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't allow for that. And you also can't be trying to go after the sky unless you can guarantee that you are going to land your stun when you jump in with the rocket leap. That was what happened a couple of times as well. He tried to go after Portgas. Rocket leaped after him, didn't connect, and that just means Portgas was able to unload a forward barrage directly into his face with no defensive items. There was nothing that Tony could do about it.
Scoundrel, that game started off pretty strong for Viet Gold, but Team Midget scaled well and were able to really execute off some mistakes Viet Gold were outputting.
I think actually the most important part of what we just saw there was that last fight particularly. That Jewel had hit her late game item spikes. You know, that had turned to the point where she could one or two shot particular carries. But right at the end, instead of turning onto the Black Feather, Tony decided to jump directly into the Vector of a Sky who had forward barrage up, and he absolutely ate him alive. The major issue for me was the way that Tony played that. He could have turned onto the Black Feather, put pressure on the Black Feather, forced a Rose offensive, and then regrouped and got to the Sky. But he jumped at the Sky, got slowed, got killed. That was it. That was it for him. He just played that he played that last fight really badly.
Something that is really hard to wrap your head around when you play really mobile heroes is, can my team follow up? And if they can follow up, will they be able to protect me is the major thing there. And when you dive so far away from your team on Jewel, there's almost no way for the rest of your team to get there. Finn, the slowest hero in the game, Samuel's not going to dive into the entire team to follow up. And so there was just no way Tony was going to live by jumping through right past the entire enemy line to try and execute a Sky whilst the Black Feather was on their face.
Yeah, I think so. We're going to be jumping into the draft. Looks like we are all ready to go. I'm going to get it underway, as that is the case. We're going to get onto this final series in the best of three. It's going to be a big game between these two teams. Remember, they've played a really even series so far. It was a game that, again, you felt was going away from Team Midgets, but they brought it back. That Portgas ace on his Sky worked out really well for him here. And as we head into the draft, what changes do you expect to see, if any?
No jaw.
No jaw?
Yeah. No jaw. I think Team Midget's going to be pretty comfortable with the draft that they outputted. Lyra worked out really well for them. It kept the key targets alive. I think that Team Midgets are going to possibly stick to their guns. I think that we'll see Glaive come back into the mix, though, for Viet Gold.
Something that I didn't notice as well is that Finn maxed B.
Yep.
No
overdrive on his quibble.
Yeah, no overdrive on his quibble, and he's looking to share resistances, I guess, or share as much protection against the team-wide damage from Skyway. It doesn't make that much sense to me. I don't make that much sense to me. That's not my that's not what I would do. I just max A every time on Finn.
Yeah, no, I think most people would agree that your first overdrive should be A, and then your second B for the late game shield providing and armor resistance providing on your armor as well. Team Midgets, though, going to go back to this Arden, perhaps going to look for a Batiste combination once more. I think it's a really strong combination, just has to be played right. Lance, though, for Viet Gold, does seem like they're going to be changing their draft a little bit, but this Glaive, as predicted, going to come through for Tony.
Oh, by the way, we have got to change to the Viet Gold, or rather, yes, the Viet Gold roster. So we have got to change for these guys. Just got to make sure that they're on the right side. Yeah, we've got to change for these guys. Viet Gold have dropped Steve Bui, and they've brought in ZZ Story ZZ. So he's now into the roster for them again. They have got quite a big roster to work with. They were happy to do that. And they managed to sub someone in now. It's sort of like a crucial game in the series. They've decided to bring in one of the guys that they originally wanted to play with. This guy was in the starting roster when we first started at the stream today, but they changed it over and he came in now at the final game of the series. How much of an impact can he make is the question.
I think we're really looking forward to seeing that. Like, perhaps it's the heroes that he brings to the table. Like Thought, Team Midgets are going back to this Batiste, and they're going to pair it with a Kestrel. I don't think the Vox was a problem. I don't think you need to change heroes, but perhaps Noah feels more comfortable on the Vox, and yet nothing really changing there for the Viet Gold. Samuel going to come through for Trung Bui again. So it is practically a rematch of the first game at Scoundrel, except for the differences of Lance and Kestrel.
I would say that the Vox is good into Lance, but maybe you feel the weapon power Kestrel.
Did you see that?
I did not see that. What just
Tony switched with Trung Bui right at the last second. So Tony's now on the Samuel and Trung Bui is on the Glaive.
Interesting.
I don't know if that was a mistake or if Viet Gold have something up their sleeves.
Well, we'll have to wait and see as we head on to the Halcyon Fold. I was going to talk about the glaive, but I don't have time now, so it's time for Telsey and Tasty to take over the final game of this series.
Interesting. I'm really intrigued here, Tasty, to know if Trungbui has decided to roll switch with Tony and play the lane glaive instead. They have purchased the items which indicate that is the aim, but whether or not that was a meditated move or an accidental switch, I do not know.
I mean, it's kind of tough to accidentally switch. Like, both of you have to hit the button to switch. So I have to assume this is something they intended to do. But either way, it's going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out. And it's not something unheard of. We've seen teams have players that can swap roles very easily and very flexible in that aspect. But it's just going to be a matter of if it pays off for them. As Treant got started up, but neither team really willing to commit to it just yet. So a little bit more of a passive start this time from the side of Viet Gold, and not going to be falling into that pitfall they had in game number 1 of and number 2 of giving a free kill over is the side of Team Midgets. So
I do like that. It looks like a fight breaking out in the lane. Noah's on the complete wrong side. This Kestrel's so exposed, and the Samuel's making his way up. Noah's just not going to escape this. First blood will go over to Trung Bui, and perhaps this was a meditated swap. Perhaps Trung Bui's like, you know what? My glaive's pretty good, and I'm going to play him in the lane. You can play an alright Samuel. Let's see if we can't get a slightly more cohesive glaive game going out, because I don't think that Tony's glaive was bad in game 1. I just think that he didn't hit as many of the ability options to execute some proper kills.
Either way, we're going to find out if this swap will be effective further beyond this first kill. But right now, nice rotation up.
Oh, Trung Bui just waits out the ordained, perfectly steps out right at the last second and pushes Portgas away. So he's going to be safe and sound for now. They've actually ran into Tony, who's completely wrong position, trying to use the Drifting Dark, but maybe he can find a kill. Yo, who did the kill go to first? It was this Samuel. They do trade back now. Noah trying to glimmer shot someone. Interesting by Tony to be right there. I think they were trying to flank and execute in the tighter corridor that was between the tri-bush and the mustache bush, but the timing was just slightly off.
Yeah, well, 1 kill apiece. They trade that one out. I don't think either side's going to be too terribly upset with that, although this is going to be Team Midgets able to push up a little bit onto this turret. A couple minions going to go by the wayside without anyone picking up the farm from them, so not going to be game-changing, but this could be. Nice Scythian Wall and Root combo there from Story, but no follow-up from Trungbu.
No, he doesn't go in for the afterburn, decides that that's not something that they wanted just yet. Portgas is spotted in the bush, and so whilst he's only just roamed up, perhaps that's Viet Gold's understanding was that a potential gank was there, and they didn't want to expose themselves to potentially that gank. Now, we'll have to see if Viet Gold, with a 3-man push in the lane, can find anything. Portgas is roaming up. They don't know that they're in this bush. The Bad Mojo will find them. Looks like Portgas going to run back to his jungle now. Just checking it with the Bad Mojo. He feels that there's someone there, and so he doesn't know if it's Samuel and Lance or just the Lance, but it wasn't worth risking.
Yeah, definitely not worth taking those kinds of chances, especially not in this stage of the game where a couple of mistakes can get your opponent snowballed into some really important item power spikes. We're going to see a Fountain of Renewal finished for Prey. Story doesn't quite have the gold for one just yet. I think once they finish off this rotation, should be able to pick his up. But for now, it's still going to be a slight item edge for the side of Team Midgets. And actually, nope, with that Frostburn getting completed by Tony, that item power spike switches just a little bit back over towards the side of Viet Gold.
Well, Viet Gold going to charge on in. Portgas going to be rooted up. That's going to be Story going extremely low. Fountain going to be popped to keep him alive. Viet Gold trying to find Malice and Verdicts onto Portgas, but he's going to be healing up with his Reap. And there's actually still a Fountain available for Prey. So advantage over to Team Midgets if this fight was to extend. But Portgas is going back into his jungle, not really looking to execute even further.
And Trungbu on this glaive, I really want to see him pull the trigger when the team goes in like that. I feel like they had an opportunity to take out one of the two carries. Trungbu didn't go in with the afterburn until Prey was the only target available. And that's not the target you want to be looking for at this point. You want to be trying to take out those carries. They are so squishy. They are so easy to take down if you can get the opportunity.
Well, Team Midget's grouping up. Not sure what they're aiming to do here. Perhaps just push Trung Bui out of the lane. Portgas is an intriguing player. His usage of the Baptiste is... I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's got full understanding of the power he can output, because it seems like when he does roam up to lane, he doesn't usually achieve too many kills as far as ganks are concerned.
Well, I mean, in this game, neither team is really finding too many kills on these rotations, and they both have very effective heroes for doing so. Between the Baptiste and the Glaive, neither side really using these two heroes to full effect within these first 6 minutes.
Both these teams are starting to feel the stress that is a 3-game series.
Yeah.
You get to this stage, your mentality shifts. The first game was like, oh, we won it, we lost it, oh no. But once you get to game 3, it's like, holy crap, if we mess up now, we lose the entire series. We pop down into the lower bracket. Fight breaks out. Fountain was popped on the side of Viet Gold. They still have it for Team Midget. Then they're charging forward. Tring Bui goes in, and that's going to be a kill going over to him. The Fountain was too late. Can they find a return kill is the question. Prey trying his best, and Tony going low. But now it's going to be Tony falling. A double kill goes over to Team Midgets. Can they get the third? Oh, the Glimmer Shot will find the double. An ace comes through for Team Midgets.
A very nice job there by Team Midgets to turn that around. Their use of the Fountain, even though it was late, I would almost rather a slightly late Fountain versus the incredibly early Fountain that Story used. Didn't really get a whole lot of healing out of it, whereas at least Noah was able to get a lot of healing from the Fountain usage by Prey. Trungbu going to try and make his way in here, but going one-on-one with a Kestrel that hasn't hardened
The
her
one
back.
shot won't connect. Tony's going to come in. This could be an overstay once more from Team Midgets. They're going to try and fight out, but a huge impale. Ordain going to knock Story in. Portgas in trouble. Huge gauntlet. Locks down 3. Here's the cleanup. Portgas going to go in and try and find another. Charges forward. Badge Mojo will connect, and that will be the kill going to him. Now it's just Story looking for his triple, and Story going to try and escape, but the Ordain's going to keep him in place, and the Bad Mojo will find a triple as well. Praise gauntlets have been pretty spectacular.
They really have been absolutely turning it around. You were just saying maybe they overstayed their welcome once more, but the gauntlet turns the entire fight around, and just like that, Team Midgets have themselves an advantage. They're gonna go for this gold miner. Meanwhile, Noah moves himself up into the lane, meets Tony up there, so not really going to be able to get too much work done in the lane, but the gold mine, the immense gold payout, 300 gold each, going to go over to the side of Team Midgets, and this gold lead has just jumped up to almost 3,000 gold.
Yeah, huge for Team Midgets. Now ahead, they can look to try and really punish this deficit that they've got up. Look at the items. Portgas has got 2 of his damage items completed, if you want to count Clockwork as a damage item, but it's crucial to the kit of this Baptiste. You always go Shadow Glass for the damage because of the great crystal ratios that comes out, despite the fact that it may not be the best item into the composition. It just synergizes so well with Batista's kit, and now he's going to be looking for some regen as well. Tony is behind. They're going to look for some more Ordains. They have to be careful though now. The Ordain has gone out. Trung Bui has an opportunity to go in, and he is going to dive in. Look at Noah's health bar. It is going down, but the Fearsome Shade turns the fight around, and the Gimmer shots are going to start finding their targets. One shot hits Tony. It's going to be 500 HP. He's going to fall down to half HP, but Team Midgets now with a great opportunity to siege up this turret and try and push their advantage further.
Yeah, and they should be able to do so. Tony is sitting under half health. They're going to go in on him.
Oh, Tony overstays, and that's easy kills, like you say. No Story going to come in. Here comes Strong Bui. The overstays have killed this roster, but it looks like they're all going to escape for now. The turret will just about stand on a glimmer of HP, but Viet Gold is starting to lose some control in this game.
They really are, and it's just come down to some really nice Kestrel play from Noah. And Portgas, again, able to get those big damage bursts. May not be the ideal image of a Batiste play, but it's effective enough when you combine it with the rest of the team. And again, I cannot state how much I'm enjoying watching Prey play this Arden. Has been absolutely impeccable, except for maybe a late fountain or two, but it's not the end of the world. These gauntlets have been absolutely on point. Has been able to save teammates with the vanguards repeatedly as well, and now they could be looking for more.
Ordain goes out, stuns up the glaive. The Oblivion won't find anything, but a Gauntlet's going to trap down 2, trap down 3, and again a 4-man Gauntlet stun. One shot isn't going to find Story. He gets stunned in the Ordained, but look at Portgas charge forward. 1 kill. Bad Mojo will find a second over. The Ordained will, and that's going to be a third going over. A triple kill. The micromanagement of his abilities insane. And Team Midgets are truly in this driver's seat.
Yeah, that's 2 turrets and a sentry off the back of that ace. And this is looking more and more like Team Midgets have this game in hand. It will be their game to lose as they extend this gold lead up to about 7,000. They steal away the entirety of this jungle. Story. He's going to be pretty far forward. Needs to make sure that the rest of the team is able to catch up to him. He does get that treant, but that's just kind of a consolation prize at this point. Looks like Midgets may look for another fight.
Looking for another fight, but what are Via Gold doing? The damage goes out. 1 shot onto Tony. That's 800 HP, and Trung Bui is not going to escape. Fierce and Shade going to hold them in this for now as Prey continues to charge forward. No Gauntlet available, but look at Noah coming around the back line for the flank, and kaboom! That's going to be damage flying out. Story just about gets away, but perhaps they've done enough to go back and secure the gold miner.
That should be their next point of focus after taking yet another team fight victory. They only got 1 kill that time, but they definitely decisively won that fight. Gold miner is going to fall. And just look at this build from Noah. I mean, we've criticized the no defense builds before, but when you can do it on a hero like Kestrel, who can stay safe in these team fights, as long as you can position yourself properly, this build is so effective. We saw Iraqi Zoro in the North American Vainglory 8 beat TSM twice with a very similar Kestrel build, able to just position and use the active camo in such a way that you are not taking the brunt of the damage in the team fights and able to just get those glimmer shots off onto priority targets.
You're really relying on Portgas to ordain Trung Bui every time with that build. I think a reflex block could be a wise option here. Trung Bui going for a tornado trigger last item. The reason for that is that there is no armor on the side of Noah, so he's going to look to just try and blow him up with crit rather than a tension bow spike. There is armor on Portgas. That is worth noting. Portgas gets impaled, but oh god, Story, he just gets destroyed. Rolls right through the gauntlet, but Tony not having the same fate. Looks like it's going to be kills going over. 1 over to Portgas as Tony just about walks away, and looks like Story will as well. Very split fight. They focused down Trung Bui rather than perhaps turning onto Tony, but it doesn't really matter. Crystal Sentry will be theirs.
And again, you're looking at Noah sitting on 90% crit chance right now as the sentry is eliminated. So almost every single shot coming out of Noah is a crit. Is going to be looking to finish off this 100% crit build shortly. And that's just what we've been seeing over and over again in these team fights is, you get Portgas and Prey on the front lines. They try and reposition themselves to get away from the Batiste. And then Noah is just right there waiting with these glimmer shots. The stuns from the gauntlets are setting up easy targets. Everything in this team composition is just setting up these massive bursts of damage.
Massive bursts indeed. So much blow up potential with the glimmer shots, this full damage, 5 damage item build that Noah's going down. Extremely greedy, but perhaps could be enough to snowball an advantage as Viet Gold don't feel comfortable engaging right now at this point. Noah is split from his team, but Viet Gold, they're walking around like dogs with their tails between their legs. They're not sure if they've been a bad boy or not, but at the moment, it feels like every time they do go and engage, they are struggling to blow someone up. And with this Kraken now online, a ace, a two-man kill, whatever it may be, could just be the end of the line for Viet Gold.
It very well could be. You said Kraken available, only 2 turrets left. Story's going to come in and one glimmer shot takes about a fifth of his health. There we go.
Look at the damage. Holy moly. Tony takes it as well. One shot's going to come through and he finds the snipe. Fearsome Shade's going to push them towards the gauntlet walls and they're going to get destroyed. A triple for Noah. And they're not even bothering with the Kraken. They're sensing the game is over.
They have the minion wave pretty far forward, and honestly, they may not even need the minion wave with the amount of damage that comes out of Noah. They're just going to go straight. Look at that turret melt. Noah just took out a turret on his own faster than his teammates with ace buff minions could take the other turret. Like, more than twice as fast.
Incredible play from Team Midgets. They just destroy it with the crit. And that is going to be them taking this series 2-1 over Viet Gold. Took a little while for them to ramp up, I think, Tasty Bacon, find their mojo, but this time it wasn't bad mojo. They take the victory.
Really, really strong showing here in game number 3. He said the first 2 games were very much a back and forth affair, but game 3 was all Team Midgets as they will be moving on in the winners bracket. Thankfully for Viet Gold, they are not out of challengers just yet, as there is the elimination bracket they will be dropping down into. They still have a chance, but it is not going to be as easy of a road as Team Midgets have.
Scoundrel, pretty explosive gameplay coming out from the side of Team Midgets. I think that they needed a bit of time to get their synergy together, and they found themselves in that series.
Yeah, definitely. They sort of came out swinging in that last set, and I think they really made that Batiste work. Portgas had a great performance there. And I've got to say, MVP was Arden for me. He was absolutely insane with those gauntlets this game. He had some game-turning gauntlets in the early game, and obviously that Kestrel build, which I've actually seen a lot of in solo queue, by the way. It's really hard to play against if it gets rolling, because those glimmer shots, they absolutely kill you at the higher ranks.
Destroy you, especially when you're a melee laner. The amount of times I've played against it as an Idris, and I've just hated my life because you try and dive onto the Kestrel to blow her up, and she ends up blowing you up in a single glimmer shot auto attack combo.
Yeah, completely agree. Let's have a look at what we've got coming up next then, ladies and gentlemen, as I believe we're going to have Team Queso versus Isuba Intel. And you'll see that on your screen soon. That'll be our next game of the night. We have already seen, obviously, the conclusion. Team Midgets versus Viet Gold was 2-1. We're going to cut to a very short break where we get these team lobbies set up. And when we're back, we'll have this game ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Vainglory League Summer Split. My name is Excoundrel, and I'm joined by Dalsey and Tasty Bacon as always. Now, sorry about the timeout at the end there. I just hadn't updated the right overlay, so it's all good now, guys. You didn't see it. You'll never know about it, but it's all good. And we're ready to go into draft straight away. This is Team Queso up against Isuba Intel. Going to be a really good game. It's actually seed 3 versus seed 30, which given the players on either team, it's interesting to see that that's the case. But Isuba Intel are by no means a poor team. Very, very good players like Baron VG, like Trizan on their team. Expecting a good series. I'm going to get jumping into draft, and Dalsey is going to join me here as we hype up this series.
Just me by myself. Tasty Bacon has been excluded. You're in the naughty corner. I'm sorry, Tasty Bacon.
He has.
I feel both hurt and offended.
Tasty Bacon is a resident draft expert over at the VG8, so I'm looking forward to hearing some of his thoughts. Has his statistics, there we go, that's a hard word, sheets lined up in a row, ready to tell us.
Professional caster Dalsey, everybody.
That's me, man. I'm the one who can pronounce words real good. Idris the first ban, though.
Oh, they're playing against Dalsey. No, wait, no, they're playing against Trizan.
They're playing against Baron VG. His CP Idris is extremely strong. Treason likes to play his weapon power on hit Lance, and so they usually play a CP Baron.
I've seen Treason play a lot of Idris on stream as well. Maybe everybody just loves Idris on that team.
What's not to love?
I know, right? It's coming from the Idris main.
I have to say, my recent Idris games have been appalling, but getting back to the draft, Baron going to be banned means that Grumpjaw is open, and Team Queso have not looked to prioritize it, instead going for the Lyra.
Lyra first pick. I mean, it's something that we've seen a couple of teams put some really big emphasis on. I'm more surprised that Grumpjaw has gotten through the first couple of picks here without being banned either. I really feel like this hero is just so immensely powerful, can absolutely dictate the game. It looks like we are going to get Grumpjaw coming through by the side of Isuba. So this is a really strong pick, but you do still need to execute with it. And that's the one thing I'm going to be worried about for Isuba going into this very, very strong Team Queso lineup.
Look, so we're going to have a Kestrel locked in here on Team Queso. Obviously, the Mr. K Cool, a new addition to the roster. It's something that we haven't yet talked about a huge amount here, guys. Mr. K Cool coming on to Team Queso was a big move for him. He went from Lemon and Lime back to VGL onto Team Queso's lineup, and it's really going to try and push this roster to a new heights. You know, Team Queso not yet won a VGL season, not really had the level of depths getting to the playoffs and so on and so forth that they would have liked. And now Mr. K Cool coming through, kind of a veteran of VGL. How much of a difference do you think this is going to make?
This was his decision as well, from what I understand. Having a chat with some people who were involved in the process, was Mr. Cake wanted to not play on the Mouse Org for whatever reason, so he's decided to go with his boy PRZ. They have a bit of a bromance. We saw them in London hanging out, and so we'll have to see how this works. I think it's pretty strong though for Team Queso. They'll be looking to make it to the playoffs for the first time, Excoundrel.
Absolutely, I think Team Queso trying to find that level of competition that they haven't found before. And they're going to be trying to do it in this game, starting off with Mr. K-Cool. The first time we're going to see them on stream, the first time on their first game in the VGL Summer Split. Dalsey and Tasty Bacon, now is your time to shine. Take it away, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. And this is a pretty normal composition coming out of Isuba, so that's pretty interesting. Treason, of course, everyone knows who Treason is in the community. His team here with Baron VG, and looks like Goki going to be joining as the captain today. Tasty. Tasty is got his mic muted, I think. So
that I do.
There it is. Hello, welcome.
Not been an uncommon problem
it's
this
Tasty.
weekend.
There you go.
Well, either way, I'm looking forward to seeing how this new Team Queso lineup with Mr. K-Cool added to the roster is going to perform here in Challengers. The team that came together with a lot of high hopes last season weren't ever really able to make that push that they wanted into the playoffs or into the top 3 spots, especially. Now with Mr. K Cool, an all-star talent up in the lane, this could be their chance.
Yeah, you'd think so. Mr. Keiko, very well renowned for his jungle ability, but in the lane is something that I'm not sure we've seen too much from him. Right now, taking it to Baron VG, landing a lot of damage down, and PRZ will be able to heal him right back up. So really winning that trade. In fact, going for the snipe on the sigil just to really put the pressure back onto Baron.
Well, right now up in lane is Mr. K Cool with some, like you said, very good damage. It's going to be this weapon kestrel, but already has more defense than most weapon kestrels we've seen of late with just a single tier 1 item. We'll see how that holds up. I'm very curious to see if it will be. I mean, it looks to be a weapon box with the crystal utility Grumpjaw coming out of Isuba. I feel like that is the better option to go, but we have seen some massive impact from weapon Grumpjaws of late as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm still a big fan of the CP Grumpjaw. Didn't really disappear. It's just opened up maybe the viability of the hero's weapon power tree and allows for stuff like Celeste to come into the lane, Scarf to come into the lane and get some more CP laners as well.
Well, I mean, like I said, I don't think we're going to be seeing that here. I'm fully expecting this to be the Crystal Grumpjaw. But, been a pretty passive game through the first couple minutes. Not something we've seen too much of recently in either region, but definitely challengers. I usually expect a little bit more passive play, especially from these top teams that want to really have a lot of more pressure to make it into the later stages of the tournament. They don't want to make any mistakes that could end up dropping them down or give a team that's scouting them a potential weakness to spot. But right now, lots of damage going down onto Gochi. Are we going to go Gochi on that one?
Gochi, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and Isuba look like they want to aggress onto PRZ here. Nice active camera stun going to trap Baron VG, and actually that keeps PRZ alive as Baron wasn't able to output any damage. Also turns the fight around a little bit. If Team Queso wanted, they could look for even more snipes. It looks like Treason's going to disappear. Nope, he's coming back. He's going to go for a gank here. Another one, and it's going to be damage going down onto PRZ. Mr. Keiko going to get the speed buff from the heal, and everyone's going to walk away alive.
Oh, did we lose Gauzy?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you kind of cut out like halfway through a sentence. Well, right now, Baron and Mr. K Cool, again, just kind of trading occasional damage, but mostly just looking to keep their farm up. We got 40 to 43 to 48 on the CS. So Mr. K Cool with a slight edge. Both of them are going to be recalling or at least going to the shop. That is the Poison Shiv completed. Actually, Mr. K Cool canceled the recall and stayed out a little bit longer. So I'll be interested to see what he ends up finishing as his first items. Looking like perhaps a Sorrow Blade for the first item. And it is going to be the Sorrow Blade coming through. So again, similar situation to what we saw in our previous series where one team goes for a little bit more utility with the first item, whereas the other team is focusing on just the flat burst damage.
Currently, no one being able to find any advantages. And interestingly enough, Dark Ghost, who he's continuing to just jungle. He hasn't really made any attempts to come up to lane and pull Team Queso ahead. So he's super Treason constantly in the bush trying to find a gank. Whereas Dark Ghost, he's been hard farming. He's level 6 now. He's looking to try and use perhaps an advantage that he has to help push down this turret. Those on points do chunk through it a little bit. He does have 1,100 gold in his inventory to shop up. Here comes Treason, going to look for a stuffed. The Bright Bulwark will completely deny any engagers there, and Team Queso are going to stay nice and safe.
And so still no kills as we approach the 6th minute of this game. Another rotation down to the shop for the side of Team Queso. Just topping themselves off. You've got fountains on both sides of the fold as well. And this little bit of a push, and not really going to be much coming from it. Mr. K-Cool is going to be able to clear out this wave as it gets underneath the turret without any issues. And so we just kind of continue on this farming game, looking for either side to take the initiative and go for the first, I guess, risk of the game. As it's just been and farming nonstop back and forth. A little bit of damage going to go down onto this turret as the rotation is slightly better from the side of Team Queso. They actually almost take it down. And with this Crystal Black Feather, those on points are going to do some pretty heavy damage. Here comes Trezon, though.
Yeah, Bright Bulwark going to stuff up, but that's going to be the stuffed coming through, and they're going to spit this this Black Feather right on in. There's a huge trap there. Can they stun up trees? And Fountain comes out. They're really trying to escape, and Dark Ghost will just be able to get away just by the hair of his teeth. Now, skin of his teeth even. If teeth had hair, that'd be a little bit peculiar. I'm not liking that image.
Yeah, it's not a particularly pleasing thought to think of. Thanks for that one, Delsey. But
No
the turret is going to fall. So Team Queso, even without a kill, able to take the first objective of the game. They've got themselves about 1,000 gold lead because of it.
1,000 gold, pretty nice for Team Queso, considering the fact that they haven't actually had to find a kill to be able to achieve that. Isuba, really nice map movement, though. They're going to take away this gold miner instantly. One shot's going to come through. Looks like Team Queso were aware of the idea, and that actually brings the deficit right back down to just 700. So pretty huge for the side of Isuba to get themselves something in return.
I mean, I don't know what they're going to be able to take in return because, again, just the rotational play from Team Queso has been just better in this game. That's why they were able to take that turret. There is some good vision down right now from Isuba around the middle of the map, but I don't know if that's going to be enough for them to really find a foothold here. Assuming Team Queso keeps this up, they should just be able to continuously push this lane in. And at some point, Isuba is going to have to try and fight them, but they're going to be fighting off the back foot because there is this gold lead that Team Queso is building up.
And the thing about the team compositions is that Team Queso have a really great scaling composition, whereas Isuba, this Grumpjaw does fall off towards the late, and that's going to be a little bit of a pain. It doesn't mean that it's useless, especially with the gauntlet combinations. You can stuff someone and spit them straight into the wall, really get some chain CC going over. But here we go. He's going to dive in, and Brightborg will prevent any re-engages, but the gauntlet's going to trap people down. Fountain comes out. Mr. Keiko's trying to lay down damage, but PRZ is looking very vulnerable. On point, glimmer shots, a lot of things to dodge, and the Fountain will be used. Missed stuffed. Treason accidentally using that ability backwards, and that's going to completely kill Isuba's offensive parade.
All right, 9.5 minutes, and still 0 kills. I want to see a game in Vainglory at some point where team somehow manages to win without a single kill. One day it'll happen. I have faith, but I highly doubt it'll be today. As at some point they're going to be looking for an opportunity. This is a full-on hit Grumpjaw. It's not going to be the CP utility. Oh boy, Trezon.
A Treason special right there. This guy loves his on-hitter builds on every hero that he plays. If you ever watch his broadcasts, then you've probably seen this before. It's usually his lance that he's well known for, but man, bring it to Grumpjaw as well. He's going to be diving on in. Brightball are going to stop any re-engages, but the silence comes out. Treason now going to walk backwards, but with the Bright Bulwark down for the next 15 seconds, and Hangry already up, he can go in for a re-engage, and there it is. Goes on in, looking for a stuff. PRZ very low. Dark Ghost not going to get taken down. The stuff's still there, and just misses. Looks like Team Case are going to start chasing on down, looking for a fight. One shot lands onto Treason. On point doesn't, though, and the Fountain going to come through to keep Isuba alive. It looks like it's Isuba just going to continue their disengage.
And it almost looks like Isuba had a chance at finding a kill, but then you look down at the items and realize that PRZ never actually used the Fountain himself. So this is just another opportunity now for Queso. This poke and harass damage with the glimmer shots and the on point are massive. but the wave does get cleared out, so they're not going to get any chip damage onto this turret until this next main wave comes through. Recalls from both Grumpjaw and Vox mean they have a little bit of time to get some unobstructed damage. Not going to get too much down before they decide to back off, but this is still just that rotational macro play that Team Queso is looking to capitalize on, clearing out a lot of vision with this rotation down through the middle of the map. They swing by the shop, pick up a little bit more damage, a little bit more defense, and it's there's not really a whole lot to talk about, at least for the side of Isuba. They have
There's a lot
gotten
to
that
talk
gold
about,
lead
Tasty
back.
Bacon. I don't know what you're talking about. This is a fantastic game here from Team Queso because they are just
Is it
keeping
though?
Isuba at arm's reach. They don't need kills. They don't need to engage. Their composition works perfectly.
I would agree with you
Standing
if they
their
hadn't
ground.
given up the 1,000. They had a gold lead, and that's completely gone now. So they haven't kept
But their
Isuba
gold
at
lead.
arm's reach.
No,
Like,
they have because the compositions are scaled differently. So despite the fact that gold is even, theoretically gold is higher for Team Queso because of the ability to scale further into the game and have a stronger late game composition. So as this game progresses, the fact that there's no kills, the fact that Team Queso haven't really given up anything but a gold miner at the point right now, they're playing this fine, and they rely on Izuba to engage onto them. That's how their team composition works. Unless they land some huge poke onto a key target, it's really risky going to the gauntlet. But here we go. Gauntlet does go out. Huge active camera going to stun up Gochi. Stuffed swallows up PRZ. No fountains for now, but Treason's going low. And it looks like Team Queso just going to continue this harass, this poke, the glimmer shots, the on points, and Baron will fall for first blood at 13 minutes. The one shot won't connect, but Gochi is in trouble. Treason going to try and take down Dark Ghost, and they just need to turn on to Treason or escape. Either one. PRZ going the wrong way here, not in a position to heal people up. And once more, Isuba fall into the same trap that has been going all game. In fact, they've overstayed, and Treason, he's going to fall for it. Gochi probably won't fall. They're going to focus down this Crystal Sentry instead. But Queso just completely denying Isuba anything in this game.
and now this is where the side of Team Queso can start to get themselves a gold lead. And this is what I've been waiting for. I wanted to see. I mean, even though, yes, they are this composition that scales much better into the late game, they still had a lot of opportunities to go in, to find kills, to be the aggressors that they had just kind of let go. And against other teams, like, that's not gonna fly. That's one of my concerns about what I've seen thus far from this game from Team Queso. Baron VG in that fight was very, very passive, wasn't really able to get anything off, didn't get many auto basic attacks off throughout the entire duration of that fight. And another, again, it's just Isuba is kind of underperforming for where you need to be at to be able to take Challenger Series games. And I think Team Queso is a little bit lucky that that's what they're up against right now, that Isuba is not looking for opportunities, is not really trying to engage these fights because they have had multiple opportunities themselves.
Oh, Isuba are definitely trying. It's Bright Bulwark stopping them. It's the active camo stunning people up as they aggress onto it. Isuba, they need to blow someone up, and it realistically needs to be Mr. Keiko, but he's so far back, and this is why they're not looking for aggressive engages. They're just looking to play this poke war because they win the poke war. There is no poke on the side of Isuba whatsoever. They are the shortest range. Vox could just be a melee hero for all it's concerned at this point. And Baron, every time he goes up, he just receives glimmer shots and on points, which means that he is not able to land down damage. So whilst I agree with you that in the future we will have to see more aggression from Team Queso, their team composition doesn't need to play it. And because of the team composition from Isuba, any aggression that comes out of Team Queso could actually be incredibly punished by the fact that you have a Grumpjaw, you have a Vox, you have an Arden who want to be up in your faces. So taking the fight to them is not ideal.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Isuba has this aggressive composition, but are not playing aggressive. Like,
they can't find the opportunities. Like Treason's tried to gank at least 20 times now. They are attempting to. It's just
it's
the
Their
range
ganks have not been very
difference doesn't
cohesive.
allow
When
for it.
Trezon goes in, he's usually by himself. So is
Well,
Baron.
this is
Right
a
now,
good
they're
start.
gonna go
Gauntlet's going to stun up Mr. Keiko. This is fantastic stuff. They finally found the combination they needed. It was the wait for it that disallowed anyone from escaping. Dark Ghost, though, he is looking pretty strong, and the Fountain's not going to keep that box alive. Can Dark Ghost get any more? He's going to get the hill. No, he ran out of it. Didn't stand his ground, and that's going to be him falling down as well. PRZ is going to survive. It doesn't look like Isuba are going to get much. And this time, an engage from Isuba catches Mr. Keiko, the key target of breaking this Queso composition.
And that was a much better engage attempt. They all engaged as one. The previous engage attempts, the previous gank attempts, it always felt like one member was just not close enough to the rest of the team to make it work. And that was why they had been stunted out of these aggression attempts earlier. But when they move as a unit, when they play cohesive like that, like you said, Baron threw out that silence at the start, which prevented Trezon from being stopped, allowed the gauntlet to then connect, and they kept all of Queso in one area. They were able to capitalize on their opportunities. But what are they going to get off of it? How are they going to make that team fight work for them? They really didn't get a whole lot as a result of that team fight.
No, for sure. And that's the crucial thing for Isuba is that, yes, they won a team fight. They got a 2-for-1 it was in the end. Their health bars just didn't allow them to push for any objectives whatsoever. So it is going to be nothing really gained and nothing really lost for Team Queso. You need a dominating team fight at this stage in the game if you want to find objectives, turrets, krakens, whatever it may be, as we have hit this 18-minute mark. And Team Queso are just going to continue what they've been doing this entire game. They're just going to continue poking. They're going to keep it ranged, try and make sure that they don't fall trap to a gauntlet stun once more. We're going to probably see, we have Aegis is there for Mr. Keiko as he finishes his 4 damage item build. And that reflex block needs to be used on time for the gauntlets. In fact, it looks like they're trying to trap the fight here. It's going to be a gauntlet wall going down. Dark Ghost gets stuck in it, but the active camo traps trees and he dives forward, picks up PRZ. No heals coming through, and maybe they can blow up Dark Ghost. Yes, they can. Fountain comes out to Keiko trying his best to fight it through. He's not going to find a kill just yet, and they continue to chase down Gochi, looking to find the kill. He does get stunned up. Mr. Keiko with the auto attacks will get the kill, and PRZ is escaping. A double for Mr. Keiko. It all went so wrong. His sustain with the poison shiv just picked up, pulled him right through.
And unfortunately for the side of Isuba, Baron was taken so low while they were killing Dark Ghost that he just couldn't get involved in the chase onto Mr. Keiko, and Trezon went after PRZ instead of joining Gochi on trying to take out Mr. Keiko. And then Baron kind of has a little bit of, I'm going to say it was a brain fart there. He's sitting on the slightest sliver of health as a Vox, as this really low-ranged hero, and tried to walk up to Mr. Keiko. That was the easiest double kill finish for Mr. Keiko that he could have asked for. So getting another one handed to him after he did a great job to 1v1 against Gochi while he was so low, but there was no way he should not have been given that double kill by any stretch. However, again, still good signs from Isuba, able to find the kill.
Extremely impressive from Mr. Keiko is the bottom line. The fact that he managed to survive theoretically a 1v3, but I guess you could say PRZ was healing him through it, whilst he was surrounded by 3 people on the top as a Kestrel. You just don't see escapes like that very often. The fact that he is weapon power build does kind of help towards that, because the active camo can be used instantaneously rather than the damage buffer that we see on CP Kestrel. Once more, we're going to see the exact same move come out of Team Queso, trying to stop this push from Isuba, and I'm going to see an engage from PRZ. Everyone's diving in. Active camo is there to try and trap them up, but a 2-man gauntlet. Here comes the active camo, but it's going to be a stun not coming through. Good Crucible being used. Active camo does hit onto Treason, but Treason's diving forward. Mr. Keiko going to dance around, and the Fountain is going to keep him alive. Treason fourth. Baron trying to find a kill. He's snared. He's slowed, and he's going to run into an active camo if he's not careful. That's going to be the kill going over to Dark Ghost. And once more, Team Queso trap Isuba in their own game, not getting catched up. 3 men survive, and a Kraken on the cards.
That was so unfortunate for Baron. He tried to use the Sonic Zoom to get those last couple shots onto Mr. Keiko, but Dark Ghost was just a little bit closer. The attacks go after the closest hero that is within vision, and The double shot from the Sonic Zoom went onto Dark Ghost instead of onto Mr. K Cool. If those go the other direction, if they go and hit that Kestrel, I think Baron ends up finding that kill, and who knows where the fight ends up going if Mr. K Cool falls there. But instead, it's going to be Kraken Unleashed for Team Queso, as they will now look to push in. They still have 4 turrets to get through, but they have themselves a 4,000 gold lead to work with that's only going to climb off this push.
Yeah, it's going to be huge pushes. The on points, the glimmer shots, these turrets are going to go down instantaneously. So much crit available for Mr. Keiko as well. One shot's going to find Baron, 600 health going down instantly. And Baron actually threw out his wait for it as reactory to try and avoid being engaged upon. So that is a crucial ultimate down. Second turret going to fall. Choke point is going low. And this Kraken's going to get a shot at these crystal turrets if Team Queso continue the push, which it seems they will. That's going to be a stuffed onto the Lyra, but she can just portal out. Does get trapped into the gauntlet walls, but nothing really used. Stuffed, pretty much wasted, is on a 20-second cooldown, so perhaps not wasted in its full front. Vayne Crystal turret down to half HP, got a 4, and the Kraken is going to go just as it hits into the second one. A huge push coming out of Team Queso and Isuba. This late game composition from Queso. Isuba's early game centric one just struggling. Oh, dodges the active camo. That could have been deadly, but looks like this 2 versus 3 is going to be capitalized on by Queso as they charge forward. Baron trying to escape, trying to run, trying to stutter step. The fountain goes out by both teams as everyone starts to heal, and it looks like this Arden is in trouble. Treason doing his best. Mr. Keiko, he has just aggressed right forward. He is going to have that active camera to stun instantly and get Dark Ghost out of the belly of the Grumpjaw, and everyone from Team Case are going to walk away with a bit of extra gold.
Yeah, a bit of extra gold, but a bit of low health, and Isuba wants to try and chase them down, but they just are not going to have the movement speed. So Team Queso getting 3 turrets off that Kraken push, sticking around a little bit long, but not going to be paying for it this time around. And 8-3 on the kills. They are looking to be on the verge of finding themselves a game 1 victory. You see the infusions, full infusions for the side of Team Queso. Still need to see Trazon get one for himself. He has enough gold for it, so should be okay there. Gochi also in a situation to be able to buy a little one. Now, looking at Gochi's build, I'm a little bit surprised that he went for the metal jacket as the first tier 3 armor item instead of getting the Atlas Pauldron that Trazon has. I mean, yes, it's not quite as effective against a Web Power Kestrel because she's going to be just using a lot of the damages from Glimmer shots, but you still want to just try and minimize the impact that the Kestrel can have on your team as much as you can.
I think you've hit the nail there. I think it actually would be pretty impactful because the adrenaline passive that Weapon Power Kestrel has to thread the auto attacks even quicker between the glimmer shots. The crit that happens with an auto attack with the tension bow as well is huge. And so if you can try and cut down some of the attack speed, perhaps in a prolonged, sustained fight, then you start building up some damage, especially if Baron is starting to hit that breaking point stacks. But everyone's going to run into each other here, and PRZ is going to chuck down the bright bulwark. That's going to be a one-shot, just clipping Baron down 620 HP, but Isuba not going to be finding themselves caught in this fight just yet. They're going to allow Baron to heal up here, go back to base and refresh his infusion as well. Gochi needs to get one of his own. They might look for an engage. Gochi with the gauntlet up, and they see everyone in this bush. Treason going to dive forward. Here comes the gauntlet. Does it trap anyone? No, it doesn't. Escaping through an active camo stuns for days. They're going to walk into another, but they've blown up this Kestrel. Dark Ghost going to go down as well, and Baron VG with his final item build starting to hit a damage point that can rip through a triple for the Vox.
Oh my goodness, Isuba finding the fight. And you said that gauntlet didn't trap anyone inside, but it did keep them within range for quite some time. 1 or 2, I believe PRC did actually get stunned by it, but that wasn't the target they were looking for. But there was a slight hesitation, just a brief moment for the side of TK, so where they weren't sure if they wanted to just leave the gauntlet immediately or stay and fight, and that allowed Baron and Trazon to get so much damage down to Mr. K-Cool. Even though he did get a big active camel stun, he was already so low on health that they were able to finish him off. They're going to get a turret, they're going to get a Kraken, and just like this, Isuba are looking to turn this game around.
Yeah, they might be able to push on in here. We'll have to see. I think perhaps it was just too much of a group up from Team Queso. They're changing their game plan here. They're not respecting the damage spike that Varian VG just hit with his full damage item build, and perhaps need to go back towards a bit more of a kiting playstyle that we saw from them earlier on this game, because their composition definitely benefits that. But with the Kraken pushing down, there's a lot of things to be forced here, and Isuba really going to try and optimize the amount of gold they get out of this. They're trying to bait active camo straps here, Team Queso. They have to be careful they don't get caught up. Oh, Dark Ghost is caught. Gauntlet catches 2. Wait for it, gonna silence everyone. And Dark Ghost struggling to escape here. Gets stunned towards the end. And PRZ did not use the fountain. Huge stuff. Mistakes from Queso, throwing away their lead as Isuba gonna take down Mr. K-Cool. Or not for now. Charging forward. He's trying to take down the Arden, but it's gonna be treason, finishing off the job. That should be the game here. A massive comeback turnaround for Isuba, and the game 1 of this series goes to them.
What an incredible turnaround. And this combo, Trezon with Gochi, the stuffed into the gauntlet walls, were absolutely amazing to watch. The positioning that it requires to know where you're going to spit the person out and get them onto that gauntlet wall. I mean, Dark Ghost just got obliterated in that last fight because of that combo. And what a huge turnaround. Isuba with a big game 1 victory over Team K. So this is the number 30 seed against the number 3 seed, and they have just gotten themselves the upper hand.
Pretty incredible stuff there at Scoundrel. What do you make of the game? Because it was pretty strongly in Team Queso's hands right up until that 25-minute mark.
I think it was just a couple of... This can always happen in Vainglory. You are miles ahead, but one poor team fight can end up nailing you in the coffin, because the Kraken, especially when it's taken, can just give you so many resources back to your enemy team. And there was that one fight, the Gauntlet, they split off K-Cool, and I think one of the problems that K-Cool had in that sort of last few minutes of the game is he spent a lot of time focusing on using his basic attacks. It was a different style of Kestrel build to that we saw in the previous series. This Kestrel build was specifically designed to be a breaking point, almost basic attack reliant build as well, with that Poison Shiv coming through. I think, you know, with the benefit of having a weapon power Kestrel, and a benefit of having Kestrel in general, is you outrange a lot of other weapon power carries and still can deal significant damage with an ability like Glimmer Shot. I think he went a little bit too basic attack dependent. He got split up so easily in the last fight by Arden, and then once you split the Kestrel off, it's very easy for the Grumpjaw to stick to her, and I think just Keiko getting split from his team just meant that he was getting isolated and killed every time.
That last fight, Excounder, I just watched the replay on it, where they caught both Mr. Keiko and PRZ, and Dark Ghost was stuffed into the Gauntlet Wars. That was actually facilitated by a Bright Bulwark, which stopped Gochi from jumping the distance he wanted to with the Gauntlet, but somehow still was perfectly placed enough that it caught 2 people and really just separated the Team Queso roster once more, so that they couldn't keep everyone alive.
I think that's the name of the game, Dalsey. From what I saw throughout the game, obviously it's difficult for me to spectate and also get a grasp of what everything that's going on, but from what I saw, the majority of what came through was if you separated Team Queso, you made them very vulnerable. They needed to be grouped up for Lyra, so by using stuff, by using Gauntlet, you can separate key components, and Keiko got drawn in to try and make his fancy mechanics work, and I think Eastwood did a really good job of splitting and separating key components of that Team Queso team.
Heading into game 2, I think what I want to see from Queso is something that is slightly less reliant on the utmost mechanics and team microplay. I think that all of these players are very talented, and I think that composition works very well when everyone is playing at their top level at Scoundrel. Perhaps though, if they play something slightly more easier to execute, then the skill differences perhaps between these different players, because without wanting to sound rude or anything, this is VG Gold, VG Silver players up against VG Bronze players. That's why there's such a huge difference in the seeding between eSuba and Team Queso, is because that Team Queso have players that have hit further in solo queue. So there is somewhat of a skill difference between these players, and I want to see Team Queso execute a little bit more cleanly.
I think you also need to look at the fact that I don't think Seed 30 fairly represents eSuba. Given the quality of players that we know that have on the team, like Baron and Trezen have always been VG Silver. Like they've been VG Silver through all of last season. I think Baron got very close to VG Gold. Not sure if he actually hit it, but this is a team of real quality, so we can't take that away from these guys. They've got real quality on the eSuba Intel team, and I think that's something that we should also pay respect to. That Team C30 isn't quite representative of where eSuba should realistically be in the seeding for the competition. I think just a lot of it was based on what we knew from them in solo queue, but we know as casters, we know that obviously Baron and Trezen are a little bit higher than the generic cream of the crop Vainglorious bronze players. So these guys are quite good in their own right. Also, I mean, letting Grumpjaw through on 2.6, 2.6, unsure if I would do that. No matter how confident I am, Grumpjaw is an incredible pick in almost every composition right now. So on update 2.6, I would just stick to those classic bans of Baron and Grumpjaw. Don't break that mold. It is proven that it is probably consistently the best set of bans. Idris, I know Idris is a pain, right? But I know you could be scared of Baron. But I would almost say that Idris is easier to deal with than a Grumpjaw is right now.
If Grumpjaw is... If Idris is left open, I think we will see eSuba perhaps pull out El Clasico, which is on hit lands with a CP Idris, and perhaps an Arden or a Lyra to provide mobility and or stuns, depending on what you want. That's what they really kind of shocked the Challenger series with last spring split Excoundrel, and it is kind of this like bread and butter that has kind of separated the eSuper roster from other teams. Is this kind of quirky composition they like to pull out.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on Dark Ghost. I'm just looking to get him back into the lobby. We are just waiting on that, by the way. If you've wondered why there is a little bit of a delay right now, we are just waiting for this to be fixed. Also, the eSuba logo. I know you guys, eSuba does actually have a logo. Unfortunately, it just didn't get updated in my storage, and therefore I can't actually refresh my storage without ruining the rest of the stream. So it will be updated for tomorrow. Just hasn't been updated as of yet. Just waiting for this team to get ready. I think I'm still waiting for Dark Ghost to accept the invite, so once he does, we'll be on the road. Tasty Bacon, we haven't heard a lot from you. I don't know if you're around. I know you sometimes like to wander off in between games, but I mean, what do you think going into this next game? Do you think those bans need to change up?
I definitely would like to see Grumpjaw get banned. I think Grumpjaw is just so strong in this meta. I mean, we were talking about how it does kind of fall off a little bit towards the late game, but the damage falls off a bit, but the utility is always there. It's such a strong tool to be able to essentially effectively stun a target completely for 3 seconds is just absolutely massive and on such a short cooldown. So I'm expecting Grumpjaw to not make it through this ban or this draft.
So we are into the draft. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. eSuba 1-0 up against Team Queso, a massive upset in seeding terms, if it were the case to go through this series, although I don't imagine this is how it will transpire. I definitely think Team Queso will bring back swinging in this game, a team of such high quality players, and there is the Grumpjaw ban, but this time by eSuba Intel, Darcy.
Yeah, and this means that either Idris is banned and they get Baron. Baron loves his Baron, hence the name, or it's the Baron band, and perhaps they get the Idris as well. So it kind of opens up some opportunities. Looks like I got dropped out of the draft client, so I'm assuming everyone else did. And looking at my friends list, I could see everyone else did. So
I got logged out. I got logged out entirely, apparently. I know.
Oh, okay. We'll blame Tomic then.
Yeah, so I'll just I just got logged out of my account, so I'm not sure. I'll get that all sorted and ready to go, guys. This is where you talk among yourself and help an scoundrel out.
Help an ex-scoundrel out. Okay. Well, we've seen the Grumpjaw ban. No surprise, really. I think that is likely going to be the game plan, though. Tasty Bacon is that if Idris is left open, then Idris is picked. If Baron's left open, then Baron is picked. So they're really trying to put Queso in this difficult situation where they have to let through an OP pick.
Yeah, it's I mean that's one of the great things about being on the A side is you can kind of when there's multiple heroes that are considered to be in that sort of OP class, then you can guarantee yourself that you get at least one of them. So we'll see where else they decide to go with this. I like the Grump Jaw ban, like you said, it guarantees they're either going to be able to take that Idris that they really like or the Baron that they really like. And I'm if I'm the side of Team Queso, I choose not to ban either of them and say, okay, you guys can get one, but we're going to take the other.
Apparently, my casters went a little bit AFK in the middle of my very important rejigging.
Oh, my mic went muted.
Oh my god, Dalsey! Dalsey!
Scoundrel, my man.
We've all got
I'm
one,
the
though.
only person. I'm the only person who hasn't muted my microphone this broadcast, and I'm the person that always mutes my microphone. God.
See, you've just passed it on to us. We're making it so it doesn't seem as bad when you do it.
Well, you know, there you go. I'm just going to get this
back. That's what it's all about.
I'm just going to get this reset up. By the way, gentlemen, this is going to get on
just
the way.
watching you get logged out of the.
I have no idea how that happened, but it did.
That's a true dodge there, right, Scoundrel. Unlucky. So yeah, we will get this game back up and started, like Scoundrel said. I can't remember. I was making this great point off of Tasty Bacon's thread, but I've been distracted now by false accusations and fake news of mic muting. So, whilst we wait for Dark Ghost to reconnect to the lobby, I'm intrigued to see what Team Queso pull out, because I liked the theory behind their composition and I liked the execution of it for the most part, but I think it is an extremely difficult composition to execute 100% of the time. And if you slip just a little bit, that's when some true weaknesses start being exposed.
We are just waiting for... I've reset the whole process, and now we're waiting for Ghost again, so I'm going to wait for that to be the case.
Literally the whole process reset.
Literally the whole process resets, and hopefully we don't get a dodge again. I think apparently Scoundrel dodged the entire thing, even though it wasn't my fault. So yeah, I'm just waiting to get this back and ready and rolling, and we will jump into this next game as soon as we physically can. I'm doing my best to A, not look an idiot on stream, which is pretty hard for me to do. B, try and get everybody into lobby. C, make sure the scenes are correct. D, make sure Dalsey unmutes his microphone. And apparently E, get Dark Ghost into lobby. So I'm doing all of those things at once. Trying my best.
And still looking like a sexy MF as well. So, you know.
I'm a sexy misfortune. Am I? Okay.
Well, who is Misfortune?
I don't know. It's from a game.
What is this name?
It's from a game that I've never heard of before, actually. So I don't even know what game it's from. I can't even remember. Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I'm practically lolling at the moment.
Are you practically lolling?
Practically lolling right now. Dark Ghost has rejoined, so it looks like we are ready to go and get this
right now.
ready to get back into this. I think Scoundrel save us.
I'm gonna get us into this draft, and hopefully it won't dodge this time round. Just gonna make sure that we are all ready to raring to go. Right, gentlemen, we're into the draft. It hasn't dodged yet. Yes, it did. Someone just dodged me.
Oh, it wouldn't be day one of Challenger Series without some technical issues. Just unfortunately for you, Scoundrel, it's actually not your fault this time.
I didn't dodge that one, just so you know.
I know. I'm very aware. Very aware. If you're here, the lobby would have. If you dodged that one, the lobby would have died.
He didn't dodge that one, but it was still his fault that there was.
Yeah. No, I didn't dodge that one, but I did have the teams on the wrong side, so that's correct. But Dark actually disconnected and dodged it, so I'm just gonna have to wait.
So now we have to reset the process and wait for Dark.
Just gonna keep waiting, guys. Twitch chat, how are you today? I mean, how's stuff going for you guys? Right here, you can see I'm incredibly happy with my life right now.
Just leaves it at that. Hope you guys are happy as well, because I'm happy, and if you're in misery, then that's too bad. Just be happy like me. So that's a Barney Stinson moment right there, Scoundrel. You know, when I'm sad, I stop being sad and be awesome instead.
Yeah. Just waiting for good old Dark Ghost. Just waiting, still waiting to get it going, and we'll be going soon enough. If not, if this continues to be an issue, I will either see if they have a listed replacement and get that underway, or we will jump to another game entirely. So
they do have heroes, people listed as substitutes. We'll have to see if they need to pull them in. If they do, then they can always role swap, maybe bring a Mano in. He can go into the lane, Mr. Keiko can go to the jungle. So there is possibilities for the team to form a fairly strong roster in the absence of Dark Ghost, which is obviously ideal for the team. But clearly, we want to try and give Dark Ghost an opportunity to reconnect back into the game.
yes, indeed. I'm just waiting. Apparently, he is having some major issues in terms of connection right now. Obviously, it's up to the player to secure their own connection. I'm just waiting to see if they have a replacement, and they do. Believe Amano Jakku is listed, so I believe he's listed as a correct substitute. Dowsey will be able to tell me if he's not.
He is.
There we go. We've got a replacement.
That's what I just said. That was my previous point there, Scoundrel.
I wasn't listening because I was too busy doing important stuff that didn't involve listening to you, unfortunately. But I'm glad you did say it because you informed the chat that this was the correct process, and now we are into the draft. Everybody on the correct side, all the bands going through. Here we go, gentlemen. There we go.
So, like I mentioned, it is likely that Amanu will now go into the lane. Mr. Keiko will fall back into the jungle where we're likely to see him. Baron, Grumpjaw banned. Will we see Asuba prioritize this Idris on-hit Lance combination? And Idris is certainly going to be the first pick, so we're starting to aim towards that.
Idris locked in. No surprises there. It's going to be a Vox and an Arden response immediately now for Team Queso. What do you make of that, Tasty Bacon?
Oh, this is so good.
I mean, you're Tasty Bacon as well, but Tasty Bacon. As you can see, I've gone a bit crazy.
I'm really happy to see this. I think it's going to be a very, very strong composition that they've got themselves set up for. I'm interested to see how the Catherine Lance duo is going to work out. It's a lot of lockdown, but this should be a lot of protection. Oh, rip.
This time it was Baron, I believe.
I think I might just be getting trolled.
By the entirety of.
I'm just getting trolled now by everybody. This is it's getting to like beyond hilarious to the point where I might actually just go slightly insane. But
I think it seems like all the players are here.
all the players are here, so hopefully we get it going again pretty quickly. Sorry about this, guys. It's unfortunately something is not wanting us to play this second game of the series, but we will bring it to you as soon as we physically can, and I mean that. I really mean that. I promise that from me to you, Twitch chat, that I will bring you this game. Well, draft.
That's an ex-scoundrel guarantee right there. And if my name's not ex-scoundrel, then that's I don't know where to go with that. I want to talk about this lockdown though, Tasty Bacon, this thread that you were starting to bring us down. Idris likely going to be CP, Lance likely going to be on hit jungle for treason, and then Catherine as the captain. We've seen this plenty of times from Isuba. You land a stun on Catherine, you land an impale, Gifting Wall, and they don't escape.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough to get out of that situation if you get locked down by... I mean, that's just so much. You have Impale, Githian Wall, Merciless Pursuit, maybe even throw in a Blast Charm on top of that so you can't even heal yourself with an item or anything. But
I'm not going to jinx it, guys.
ridiculous.
I'm not going to jinx it, guys, but we could actually be into game.
Treason's saying that he wants to go captain here. Is this a troll?
It very well could be.
And Amanu's actually going to go jungle as well, so it looks like Mr. Keiko's going to stay.
Wait to game!
in the
Oh,
lane.
yes! See ya, lads! I don't have to talk anymore.
You could have just left us. Oh, it's quite funny. Yeah, no, we are into game. Treason is going to go down the weapon blade, so he's just trolling us with the lobby. It is going to be Treason's on hit lance. It's not. You could call it weapon power lance you want to, but it's such a mixture. It's tension bow. It's aftershock hits. Storm crown as well. It is literally buy all of the on hit items and just blow people up with a single impale.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously going to be their goal. Looking like it could be a weapon Idris. You were expecting a crystal Idris.
It's so likely to be weapon power. I think that starting weapon blade first allows for you to last hit a little bit quicker, a little bit easier.
It's so likely to be crystal power then.
So yeah, that's what I mean. I'm 90% sure. The shield though is a little bit peculiar. I'm not sure why Baron has started this. Perhaps he's more concerned about ganks from the alpha than he is the auto attack.
I mean, he did the same thing last game as well, where they actually, I think both laners did it, where they started the crystal, even though they were very clearly likely to be up against a at least initially weapon laner. So it'll be interesting to see where this does end up going. Like I said, I assume it's going to be the crystal Idris as well, which I'm really excited for. I've been wanting to see a crystal Idris get pulled out for quite some time. And it's almost every time we've seen Idris in competitive, it has been the weapon power build thus far.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it is a little bit more popular. The reason being is that Crystal Idris takes a really long time to scale up before it becomes a point where the damage is so strong it makes it worthwhile. Whereas Weapon Power Idris, very strong in the early, very strong in the mid, very strong in the late game with the Tension Bow build. So it's pretty strong all around. And you don't have to wait for late game scaling to have the massive damage effect. Makes it a little bit more worthwhile, which I guess you could say could be a reason for Baron to go Weapon Power Idris, especially with the current strength of Tension Bow. But just historically from Isuba, it has been Crystal. Gochi looking for a merciless pursuit. That's going to be Treason locking down. Gideon Wall comes through, and that's going to be a dead Mr. K. Cool. Rinse and repeat. Isuba do this every time.
Well, we'll see if they can do this every time. If they keep it up, this is going to be an incredibly stellar game from there. It goes.
Yep. Wow. It is. Every
It's
time we
almost
see
funny to
Super
watch.
play, it is just this every time. For the entire game, and they snowball so heavily off it that they just keep fighting because they are likely to kill someone every time they lock someone down.
Yeah, Tension Bow Lance is just the damage output early on is so strong. So he's got that tier 3 item already picked up. Not even 3 minutes into the game. There's the crystal power from the Idris that we are looking for. And again, the crystal power just makes sense with this composition because it allows the Idris to stay farther back on the backlines, doesn't have to get into melee to dish out the damage. And so you have the Catherine and Lance able to block and soak up so much. And there's really no tools on the side of Team Queso to get onto the backline and onto this Idris. Because, yeah, Alpha, you usually think of as someone who can dive onto the backline, but if there's bodies in front of her, she's not going to be able to get past them.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly the idea is that CP Idris is quite vulnerable, doesn't have the gap closing. Oh, they're looking for another gank, not going to find it. Whereas when you have a Lance, you have a Catherine, it's really hard to actually get onto the Idris. Impale connects. Oh, God, that is a huge amount of damage from Treason as he just pulls forward, likely to see him go down towards an Aftershock next, and that's going to be PRZ in a lot of trouble. The Impale doesn't connect, but it does onto Amanu. Stun will be there. Gochi almost losing his life. But Isuba just going to continue this snowball that they've started.
Apologies for the radio broadcast, by the way. The spectator client completely froze. So Dallas's been giving you some good radio broadcast as we go on. I'm just loading back into the game. Hopefully get it underway shortly. I've had no end of troubles, apparently.
I love radio broadcasting. I've done it multiple times for other titles, just because we've had technical difficulties, and it really challenges your ability to play by play and detail information as clearly as possible.
He says, as we haven't given any information about detail of what's going on for the past minute or so. But we are going to be seeing Baron VG back up in this lane starting to build up a bit of a CS lead over Mr. K-Cool because of these ganks. All three members of Isuba are now in this forward mustache brush. And Mr. K-Cool, they're going to go into the turret. He dodges away. Still gets
Oh,
caught.
Impale connects. Rinse and repeat. They're going to look for a fight here. Team Queso trying to dive on in. Gochi is pretty low, which would force Isuba to fall back for the meantime. They don't necessarily need to fall back. The great thing about Catherine, you put that Storm Guard shield up and you can tank up some damage. But for the moment, 4 kills to 0, almost it is 2,000 gold lead for Isuba at this 5.5 minute mark. They are going to buy some items and look to take this even further.
And I thought when the Sonic Zoom came out just before the Catherine stun connected that Mr. K-Cool would be safe, but Trezon with the max range just barely catching him with the tip of that Impale. Again, having the tension bow already completed made it so that burst is just huge.
That's going to be another stun onto PRZ. He is dead by the gold miner there. And the kill goes over to Baron VG. Isuba, it's hard sometimes, Tasty, to throw it in time. They're looking for another Mr. Keiko. He's going to be knocked up against the wall, and now he's under his turret, but he's dead to Treason's Impale. Gochi gets stunned on through, but there's not quite any follow-up just yet. Looks like Isuba, with just a Manu on this alpha to defend, not really a hero that can defend turrets by herself as easily. We'll look to see if they can't find a kill. Stun onto Amano. Impale connects. She is popping her termination protocol and able to get behind the turret before she goes into the reboot, which means that she'll be safe for now. Isuba, lots of damage down onto this turret at just a fifth of its HP bar. They can look to finish that off shortly.
This burst from Isuba is absolutely insane. The moment they decide to go onto a target, if they can't get away from the initial stun, they're just dead. I think the alpha pick is actually really smart into this composition because you can only burst her so many times before she gets back up. And that's going to be one of the few sort of opportunities that they might have on the side of Team K. So before Mr. K-Cool gets his reflex block, once he has that, they should be in a much better spot.
PRZ caught once more, going to use the Vanguard to escape the wall. But it is the turret falling in favor of Isuba in the process. Treason one hits camps at this point with the Impale auto attacks. It's pretty crazy. And they've got so much of an advantage. It's 4,000 gold for Isuba. This is kind of scary for Team Queso because they were in the driver's seat for the entirety of Game 1 Tasty and failed to execute a win. Now Isuba, with their renowned composition, their famous composition, you could say, have such a massive lead, and Team Queso have not found any openings.
Yeah, they just haven't really been able to get any sort of footing in this game. And all credit to Isuba for the way that they're playing this composition. You mentioned this is their comfort picks. This is their go-to composition. And they are just executing on it so well here in the first 8 minutes. They've got a 4,000 gold lead at the 8-minute mark. And they're able to just control so much. And that's without taking a gold miner. Gold miner's still sitting there with a full payout, just waiting to be taken. I'm kind of surprised they haven't gone for that because of how much damage they do have. But they're going to just continue to look to rotate around, try and dominate this lane, and not allow Mr. K-Cool a chance to get himself comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Isuba pushing up into the turret, looking for an Impale or a stun onto Mr. K-Cool. He has his reflex block prime. They all do. Going to need that Crucible from PRZ as his sap. PRZ does get impaled, does get stunned, but the Giffian War won't be able to continue the CC chain. Isuba, though, with lots of siege potential. Chakrams, they fly through the turret and they hurt when you have the CP scaling, but it looks like they are just going to fall back and look to try and take away some of these camps, maybe even start up this gold miner as well.
That's exactly what they're going to do. They have a lot of vision because of that minion wave being pushed up. They know that Team Queso has to defend the minion wave, and so that is an easy gold payout picked up, increasing this gold lead now for the side of Isuba even further. As they can kind of set this line of scrimmage has moved up because that first turret is down. It means there's a little bit more of the jungle that has now become dangerous territory for the side of Team Queso. They can barely even really push up past that mid-treant without being at risk of getting caught.
Yeah, for sure. And with the CC lock available for Isuba, they struggle to Team Queso struggles to kind of know how to start a fight, how to position, because they don't necessarily have the tankiness to survive a full burst. PRZ you've seen go down extremely low from the combination from Isuba. And that makes things extremely difficult for them because PRZ is meant to be their foreman, the one who's diving in with Amanu to really provide him a lot of shielding and a lot of stuns. That's going to be Amanu blocking up the Impale, does go down to half HP in the process. It looks like Gochi's going to go really low, and Baron VG, he's stuck, but he's going to manage to use his Cinema Strike to survive for now. Manu pops that Termination Protocol. Mr. Keiko almost goes down to a chakram. This should be Amanu falling for sure. As the Impale connects, he is going to go down to the chakram of Baron VG. This turret will fall, and that's going to be 7-0 going over to Isuba.
This is just a masterclass in how to run a burst lockdown composition from Isuba. They are all over Team Queso. And again, this is, we mentioned now maybe the number 30 seed isn't quite, doesn't do justice for how good the players on the side of Isuba are. But this is still the number 30 seed versus the number 3 seed. And they are just taking it to Team Queso.
Yeah, and these guys have met each other before, I believe, Tasty Bacon, at some crucial points in the tournaments. These guys consistently butting heads. So it's as mentioned, the players Baron VG Treason have hit high rankings in the past, and that's kind of why we're saying that perhaps 30th seed isn't as showing as to the skill of these players, although the way that skill seeding is awarded is generally down to the team's MMR, I believe. Not that I have full knowledge of the algorithm used to seed the teams, but right now we're seeing Isuba already 1-0 in the lead, looking to push forth further and try and execute this win. If they're able to, then that's a 2-0 to them and possibly a shock result.
Yeah, this is definitely something that Easy was looking to make a name for themselves, looking to show that they are a team to be reckoned with. And I think they've already done that, regardless of if they're able to hold out and take this victory. They are definitely showing that they are not a team to overlook whatsoever. I've been so thoroughly impressed with this. And look at the vision control as well. There are so many blue scout traps scattered throughout the map. If there's ever a chance for Team Queso to get in and try and contest this objective at the middle of the map, they are going to know exactly where they are coming from.
Yeah, for sure. Team Queso, with this alpha, really needed to scale hard, needed to get some kills, but right now being completely denied by Isuba. A perfect game so far. They have not given up a single objective or kill. They're going to take a Crystal Sentry to push their gold lead to 8,000 now. Looking to try and get this choke point turret, but honestly, what Isuba are looking for is an overextension from Team Queso so they can stun someone up and remove them from the Halcyon Fold. Makes taking the turret so easy. Chakram, though, will do work. It will eventually chip down the turrets, so it's not like Isuba are on a team time bomb. They've got plenty of time to play with, and they're very happy to play this rinse and repeat. And in Team Queso, look for the engage to try and keep this choke point turret alive. Then it's just going to fall down. It looks like it's just going to go down without a hitch. Baron VG able to secure that very quickly.
Yeah, every chakram that got thrown out did almost 800 damage to the turret, so it's just a matter of time, really, that they actually end up taking it sooner rather than later. 3 turrets down. We're 14 minutes in, just 1 minute away from Kraken spawning, and you got to figure Isuba's going to be in a position to start that up the moment it spawns. Again, they have so much vision control that there is nowhere for Team Queso to go without being spotted. They're going to get spotted down there by the Crystal Sentry area, as the Sentry does make its way back in towards its location. But Team Queso completely on the back foot, down by almost 10,000 gold at this point. And another gold miner going to go the way of Isuba, just under 30 seconds until Kraken spawns.
Yeah, that's going to be 126 gold each to the players. So a nice little sizable gold chunk to bring this goal deficit to around 9,500 at this 15-minute mark. Mr. Keiko currently just waiting in the bush with Amanu, and Gochi's going to spot them out now. A bit of damage going down onto Gochi. Treason's waiting in the wings to try and find an Impale. Looking for Mr. Keiko. Gochi with the blast tremor. Fountain comes out, though, in the process from PRZ. And so with Fountain gone, it looks like Team Queso are going to attempt to just fall back. And maybe Isubu with the Fountain down could force a Kraken here, because it's unlikely that Team Queso are really going to be able to take a team fight against them. Isubu do start the Kraken, but with the flares going out, they're not wanting to continue it. Now just waiting in a death bush to try and catch someone out, and PRZ is going to be the target. Knocked against the wall. Impale's going to connect. He's rooted. He is done. Baron finds the kill. His 5th of the game in the tri-bush now. The Kraken's going to be started, and Amanu, Mr. Keiko, they're close by, but they're deciding to just port back to base, give this Kraken up to Isubu, and look to fight a different time.
I don't know how many opportunities they're going to have, however, though, with Kraken pushing in and the massive lead that Isubu has, it is just going to be extremely difficult for Team Queso to hold off this push. And we've already seen how much Baron VG can poke with this Idris on the Crystal Power. Those chakrams do so much damage to the turrets or even to heroes from a range as he gets a one hit off onto Mr. K Cool. He's already going to be running back and just getting that topped off once again. But Kraken making her way on in, and Isubu looks ready to fight, ready to try and end this game, ready to move on to the next round of challengers.
And you guys are going to be able to see it as well. Apologies for the technical difficulties. We're onto an iPad now, so it's going to look a little bit weird, but you're going to see Isubu's combination work perfectly as Amanu just gets completely destroyed. That's the silence flying out from Mr. Keiko. They're going to start falling back, but as soon as they got stuff up, they're going to go back in. Gauntlet escaped, and now Isubu can look to stun someone up. Watch as Gochi charges forward and locks someone down, and Treason just follows up. Blast Tremor going to silence PRZ. He's the target. There is the Impale, and he is going to get knocked towards the wall. Baron VG in a little bit of trouble. Looks like Team Queso looking to fight, and looks like Isubu on in the different fronts, but Impale's going to connect in the Fountain. Not going to do anything. Gochi low. They don't have Fountain available. Maybe they can turn this around. Yes, it looks like they will. As the gameplay comes back onto the stream, Team Queso finally get their first and their second kill. But will the Kraken get the turret? It does, leaving the Bane Crystal exposed.
Yeah, so no more perfect game for Isubu, but the base is in shambles for the side of Team Queso, as there are no turrets remaining to defend for them. I mean, Kraken cut the crystal down very low on her own as well. Again, just kind of a sign of how far behind the members of Team Queso are. Kraken was about half health, and it took them a very long time to take her down. Amanu has just the one offensive tier 3 item, now has the piercing spear, but is still a long way off of being able to finish off the broken myth. Meanwhile, everyone on the side of Isubu is on multiple tier 3 items. We're approaching full build for Baron. Just needs to finish off that reflex block into an Aegis, and that will be a completed build for the lane carry of Isubu. And again, without having any turrets there, all they're going to do is look to push in and maybe try and win this game. That I don't even think they need to find a kill there, but they're going to have opposition here. So if they do get a kill, it's game over.
Game over indeed. Almost very unlikely that Team Queso are able to defend the base if that does go down. Mr. Keiko, though, is almost at his full damage item spot, but he's very far forward. He's going to get stunned up. Here comes the Impale. It is blocked, but Mr. Keiko so low. Amano goes forward. That silence will come through. The Gauntlet buys time for Queso, separates them, but now it looks like Isubu are going to push into the base and try and finish this off. They're going straight for the Vein Crystal right round the back, and they're going to look to just try and burst it down as quickly as possible. Here comes the Termination Protocol, but the Kraken, the base is falling. The Crystal is going to go down, and Treason with one swift Impale finishes the series, and it's going to be Isubu taking down Queso, eliminating them to the lower bracket.
Yeah, not quite eliminating them, but they are going to be, as you mentioned, in the lower bracket, the elimination bracket, and this has got to be frustrating for Team Queso. They had this new roster coming in. They were looking to make this be their run, but Isubu absolutely showing up in this first round matchup, taking them down in a very close, very, not convincing game number 1, but game number 2, absolutely dominant from Isuba as they finish this off. Only 2 deaths to speak of to break them from having a perfect game. What a performance.
And this is why that priority was put onto the Idris. That is why we saw the ban onto the Idris in game 1, because Team Queso respected this composition that Isuba has made famous, and you can see, well, maybe you didn't see, but you saw towards the end exactly why, because Team Isuba just play this composition so well at Scoundrel.
Yeah, they did. I didn't get time to... I honestly, I wish I could answer questions on the game, but unfortunately I spent the entire game trying to figure out why my client had died. It wasn't a problem on Vainglory's side, it just has I am actually using a fairly old Mac to stream Vainglory, and at some point it just decided to turn around and say, I don't want to connect to the Vainglory spectator client anymore, and stopped. So I just got a freeze on it, and I had to basically go back and figure out a resolution. I didn't know what to do. I thought the best thing was to just try and restart the client over and over again on the Mac, but it just kept having the same problem. So you might wonder why the resolution is slightly lower now. It's because I've moved it over to my iPad. The reason I couldn't work out what was going on was because my stream's been fine. I've not dropped any frames on the stream. So the reason the resolution is now smaller is because I've had to move it onto my iPad. I could try moving it back onto the Mac, but I don't think I want to take that risk. Just because I don't want to have the issue where we completely lose the spectator client again. So they thought this was the best option we could come up with. I'm sorry that you missed the majority of that game, but Team Queso just looked sort of downbeat, and that was a massive performance from Isuba.
Certainly was, and pretty typical when they get this composition. You can't allow them to really get onto it. I think possibly instead of banning Baron, maybe just ban Lance or something like that, or I don't know. It's too hard to understand in single ban drafts how you shut down the super composition, because like in a double ban system you can simply shut it down with bans and make it you can ban your priority picks like Baron and Garmtor, and then throw an Idris ban in there as well, or whatever you feel is the crucial part of stopping the super lockdown.
Absolutely. Well, as we move on to the next series, we do have one more series to bring you. I think it'll be Halcyon Viet Gold versus Halcyon Quake, which has one of our admins, Kigaza, playing in it. So we'll get moving on to that very quickly. As we do that and as we set up, I will just go to a very, very short break. I know you guys have been looking at screens for the majority of this game so far, but we won't be too far away from bringing you all the action. So we'll be back very, very, very shortly.
To repent before you sin. It's like giving up before you begin. Stars were dancing in their light, paths that we could never run. Oh, they were dancing way up high. Stars were dancing in their light, the future we will never run. On our feet was bone dry, it was bone dry.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the stream. We are going to continue with the next elimination match. It's a little bit later than we intended, about 40 minutes afterwards. Apologies for the delays, like we said. And like you saw, we had issues with the client over on the Mac side of things. That's going to stay off for the moment. We're going to continue with the iPad. It's just a little bit more stable. It means we won't have issues in the spectator side of things. And it means we can be more stable and bringing the action a little bit better. Camera work might be a bit iffy on the iPad, but I do my best if I physically can, and hopefully we can get things underway. I know the teams are both ready to go, so we're going to get it underway as soon as we can. Dalsey and Tasty Bacon are back with me.
I am. I assume Tasty Bacon is here as well. I can't speak on his behalf.
I am here too.
Hello. How you doing?
Hello. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Are you pretty good at Scoundrel?
I'm better than I was.
Understandable, but we are into the draft, and we are seeing Grumpjob and Baron band away.
And it's what you expect. It's the most meta bands in the game. What I'm not sure to expect is if we'll see Viet Gold, who we saw at the beginning of today, go to the same composition that they've been drafting, whether or not it's going to be Tony in the lane, or Trung Bui. We saw a bit of a miss up there, and of course we've got this entirely new roster: Halcyon Quake with Kigaza, one of the VGL admins playing. Viking I recognize, and I think I recognize Wolfie as well. So it'd be interesting to see how these guys perform.
Yeah, I mean, Halcyon Quake also, Kigaza, not just a VG11, was also an analyst for was Team Cyclone when they went to London. So definitely a great mind for the game there. We'll see if that can transfer through into the draft. Does pick up 2 big power picks with the Vox and the Lance. So, I mean, it's pretty easy to get yourself some power picks on this patch currently. So not too surprising there. But Scarf, that's a bit of a change here for Viet Gold.
Yeah, no, certainly is. And going to have a Black Fur as well. So they are changing their composition up entirely at Scoundrel.
Yeah, they are. It is going to be now waiting for the final lock-in here for the Halcyon Quake. Very, very sort of late-game scaling composition on the side of the Viet Gold team with that Scarf, the Ard, and the Black Feather. Very, very good late game if they can get there. Tucker designed not to let them get there, however, and that is going to be the final lock-in for the Halcyon Quake team right now as we head into game. Again, apologies for the resolution, guys. The resolution is there because, unfortunately, the Mac client did not want to work during the last game that we had, and instead of bringing you guys a choppy experience, I want to give you maybe a slightly downgraded resolution, but at least we're going to be in the game throughout the whole thing, so that's why we're going to be on a slightly lower resolution than usual before we can get it fixed for tomorrow. So just giving you guys 100% certainty, I'm going to say by touching my desk, which is made of wood, that we stick in this game for the whole thing. Now, Darcy and Tasty Bacon, time for you guys to take it away.
Thank you very much. And this is an elimination bracket match. Tasty Bacon, a best of 3 series. Decide which one of these 2 teams will unfortunately be leaving us in the VGL summer season.
Yeah, very unfortunate that one of these teams is not going to be progressing any further, as obviously we've seen some signs of very strong play from the side of Viet Gold. We haven't seen anything from HQ just yet, but they had the unenviable task of going up against Salty Potatoes in their first round matchup. That's going to be a team to watch here in Challengers for sure. We'll have to see how they can stack up against this Viet Gold squad. Kigaza doing some pretty good damage in the lane up against Tony, but he's got that Book of Eulogies and will be able to just regen back up as this minion wave pushes forward.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's the great part of having Book of Eulogies, is that every minion you kill, you regain HP. Of course, you're going to be trying to kill as many minions as possible, so you can see Tony's already up to full HP. In the jungle, though, Viking going to land an Impale onto a very vulnerable Scarf, and here comes the Tucker. Wolfie looking to try and find a kill. Steve Bowie going to be the main target. And it looks like Halcyon Quakes are actually just going to start falling back. Wolfie wanted to secure this, double Impale. Surely they go for the kill now. Wolfie on a completely different book, different page here, and seems like Viking knows exactly the kill pressure that this composition has, but perhaps Wolfie not feeling it as Trungbui gets impaled, Viking just not being rewarded for these great CC locks, and I have to say that's more of a mistake than anything coming out of Wolfie to not find a kill there. And now, in fact, it might be Kigaza in trouble. Viking going to save him for now, but Tony dumping forward, and Kigaza will go down for first blood. Viking looking to find a returner. He gets one onto the scarf. He's going to look for a second onto Tony if he can find the impale as Tony dumps in with the on point. Gets the shield. Impale connects. There's a Giffian war, but it's going to be Viking falling. Where was Wolfie this whole time?
Yeah, that was big mistakes from Wolfie. I mean, he did get the backs at least, but that is, I mean, they could have gotten so much more off of this if Wolfie had just gone and been on the same aggressive page that Viking was. Kigaza coming right back into the lane with some aggression of his own, but yeah, definitely, I have to agree with you here, Dowsy. That seems like a big mistake from the side of Halcyon Quake to not go for those aggressive moves. And I mean, we say mistake by Halcyon Quake, but as much as you don't normally like to isolate one player, it really was Wolfie just not on the same page as the rest of the team.
No, entirely. And this is something they're going to have to clean up now, Halcyon Quakes, if they want to be able to continue into this game and not fall behind too much, because Scarf is so vulnerable and Tucker's so good at shutting down a Scarf that you really need to be playing an ultra aggressive Tucker to find the greatest success and try and prevent this Scarf from being able to scale into the late game where he wants to be.
Well, right now, all three members of Halcyon Quakes up in this lane. Wolfie is going to be ducking back down into the jungle. He does have himself the Storm Guard banner, so he will have a pretty quick clear time when it comes to farming up these camps. And if we look at Kigaza, 32 to 32 on the CS, so no advantages to be had here in the lane just yet. And it'll be interesting to see, again, if Wolfie goes more aggressive with the rest of the team. I can definitely see the side of Halcyon Quakes able to find a kill or two here and there if they stay aggressive, but they need to stay aggressive. You hit the nail on the head. They need to be trying to shut down the Scarf. Scarf is very, very weak in the early game, especially. He gets so strong in the late game, but if you can just shut him down early, you can absolutely win a game before he's able to get rolling.
Yeah, and there's been CS stolen that does go towards shutting down the Scarf, but Wolfie could have had it all. The cake with the cherry on top is the point. He could have had the kill onto Scarf and the CS as well. The Viking was hitting the impales necessary. You know, oftentimes it's usually when we see it in the VG8. It's the dodge of CC that prevents the kill from coming through. Not often is it the Taka deciding, you know what, I'm going to prioritize the CS over the kill.
Well, right now it's going to look like just more pressure in the lane. No one really wanting to commit to a fight just yet. Viking going far forward. Are they going to look for an opportunity to go rotate down to the jungle? They are indeed, but we're not wanting to go too deep. Obviously, the Treants are in play now as of about a minute and a half ago, so it makes these jungle rotations that much more difficult to try and make.
Certainly does, and it's almost a missed opportunity that's still possible. Don't get me wrong. It's all about setting up the vision and try and prevent it. And you can see that there is being vision prioritized by Steve Bowie to try and prevent any invades coming through, try and keep the Scarf nice and healthy and safe in the jungle. Wolfie starting to get that CS deficit gained upon, it seems. Chung Bui hasn't had too much trouble securing his farm for the last little bit, so what was a sizable lead is starting to slow down as far as experience is concerned. About, you know, a half XP bar behind, which could be cleaned up in no time if a team fight was won by Fiat Gold. But it is still Halcyon Quakes making the aggressive moves at this point. We haven't seen Fiat Gold really attempt anything.
Yeah, the gold is pretty much dead even between both sides, so no one really has much of an advantage. It's just going to be who can find the first real big opportunity. Aftershock completed for Wolfie. I actually really like this. These Storm Crown Aftershock junglers that we saw really rise to prominence last season have started to make this adaptation where they get the Stormguard banner, then get their Aftershock, and then finish the Storm Crown off. And the Stormguard banner is more than enough to rapidly increase your clear speeds in the jungle, but it doesn't help you when it comes to if a team fight breaks out very much. So you get that Aftershock. Now you have both clear speed and team fight potential, and then you can finish off the Storm Crown to have that big impact on the creeps later.
Yeah, no, and that's fight breaking out actually. Missed the kill, but it is going to be first blood going. Oh no, kill, sorry, going over to Wolfie. Kigaza does fall to the damage, but it's going to be a double. Wolfie starting to scale up here, like you mentioned, with the Aftershock and the Storm Crown, and it is going to be 2 kills to the 1. Wolfie goes into the jungle, still some camps away.
Yeah, they did a good job of getting onto Tony, finding that kill. Kind of left Trungbu all on his own, so you got a ton of work out of that Dragon's Breath. But then Wolfie steals away a little bit of jungle. They're working on this gold miner, but they think better, probably for the best, to back off of that objective with both Steve and Tony making their way in to try and run interference. And the vision battle is going to really start picking up now as we hit the 8-minute mark. This is when both teams are going to start putting a ton of focus into knowing where their opponents are, especially with a Taka in the game. It becomes so important for both sides to, for Viet Gold to make sure that they have vision of where this Taka is at all times, and for Halcyon Quakes to clear out that vision so that Taka can move around unnoticed.
Certainly, and vision control will be the aim of the game. I'm expecting a contraption for Steve Bowie to try and shut down the Tucker at some point. He might not build it. It really just depends on how crucial they think Wolfie is to the game, but he does have 2 kills, and if he continues snowballing, then perhaps they will keep focusing him down. That's a good impale, though, onto this Black Feather. He's going to have to use that Rose Offensive to escape. Fountain popped as well, and now Kikaza getting a little bit separated, but Wolfie going to dive on in. Gauntlet goes down, but it's going to be Wolfie in the Dragon's Breath burning away. He gets 1 kill, but not another. He needs to get that reflex block going so he can escape those gauntlets for the next team fight.
Well, there's that kill going over 1 apiece, and they're actually going to stick around. Another kill goes the way of Scarf. Scout Trap almost takes him out. I almost thought Viking might look to try and turn around. Now he's looking for it.
Oh, he's going to get it as well. Can he escape Steve? Yeah, he can escape Steve Bowie, but can he escape Tony is the question. Rose Offensive is up, and Wolfie's not coming to the lane, so Viking going to have to pop his boots to escape as he puts a little bit of pressure onto Steve Bowie, just trying to land some damage. Wolfie, if he comes up, could help out, but Wolfie isn't coming up. In fact, it's Tony coming down.
And so they're going to be still pretty much staying even. It's kind of impressive how even this game has been. And with these fights, it's neither team able to find an advantage. The gold is pretty much dead even. The kills are square, but now, Quakes.
Huge burst onto the Black Feather there. Nice ability to shut him down. So hard sometimes to kill the Black Feather, and you always expect that in these team fights, Halcyon Quakes are going to be aiming for the Scarf rather, but in circumstances like that, it's just almost too easy.
Yeah, they had him on his own. Now they're going to look for this gold miner again. Somewhat risky, but Kigaz is able to keep the opponents at bay.
He has to be careful. A Dragon's Breath could tear through the roster, but Trung Bui did not want to go for it. I think it would have been a good move. Just channel it. You've got nothing to lose. The cooldown will be up for the next team fight, but without the Gauntlet, maybe they felt like they couldn't get the full usage out of it.
Well, that is going to be Goldmine going over to Halcyon Quakes. That's going to give them a slight gold lead. I don't know how much impact that's going to have because, again, when it comes to the actual fights, these teams have just been trading back and forth. 1,000 gold isn't really going to give you enough to have a big item disparity. The power spikes are pretty much on par with each other. It's the slight difference in Tony and Kigaz's build is really what's going to be important to keep our eyes on Kigaza going for a little bit more upfront damage, whereas Tony is looking to scale and build up throughout the fights. It's the same thing that Scarf's going to be doing. And honestly, the fact that Halcyon Quakes don't have themselves a pretty solid lead at 11 minutes against a Scarf Blackfeather is not something that's going to bode well for them.
Yeah, no, I think that late game they can both output a lot of damage. It's really about execution towards the end. I do think that Scarf and Blackfeather will become a threat, and Blackfeather is going to aim to try and take a lot of the pressure off the Scarf. It's a composition that Fnatic like to run. Here comes the Dragon's Breath in a tight corridor. Look at the damage flying out. That's going to be the first kill going. Kigaza loses his life. Wolfie trying to find more. He's trying to escape, but he's got vision of him, and it's just no way he can escape that scout trap. Now it's all on Viking to try and find himself a position where he can port back to base, and it looks like he has just about found it. He is in vision of the wave, but there's just no way they're going to get there. Oh no, the minions stop him! Yep. Oh, Viking could have just ported in the bush. Possibly would have been a safer move, and unless he makes it over the wall here, I think he is a goner. Gets over the wall, Spitfire doesn't connect, but the minions are going to stop him. Yep, there's going to be Viking just going back over, trying to get this over and done with as quickly as possible.
Yeah, he definitely could have just gone back in the brush. Would have been a much safer option. Would have almost certainly gotten himself out to safety. At least he did prevent the ace, but it's still a little bit more gold going back the way of Viet Gold. Now it's again 26,000 gold for each team. There is so little disparity between them. As neither team's been able to take this first turret down yet either, and we're getting to the point where those turrets are just going to start melting when one of these teams does find themselves an opportunity to push.
Right, and I'm expecting that point to hit very shortly. As you can see, the items are starting to really flood in for these weapon power carries. Kigaza, a fairly interesting build, the Tension Bow last item rather than a Sorrow Blade. Usually when we see the Tension Bow build on Vox, it's there's a Sorrow Blade involved for the damage output. I'm not sure if it's going to really have as much damage to keep up in the fights, but I guess if Breaking Point gets stacked up, then it can do work. Impale, though, onto this Scarf. Nice stun against the wall. That's going to be Scarf losing his life instantly. The Fountain, too late from Steve Bowie, and now they're going to look to try and take Tony as well, who does secure a turret for himself, and now he's on the Grand Escape. I think he's probably gone, and it looks like the Halcyon Quakes know this. They're not even going to put up a chase.
They are gonna find Steve Bowie here, maybe find a kill here, but Kigaza, he's much more interested in trying to take this turret down, trying to get that gold for the team. Not quite gonna be able to do so, especially expecting aggro the turret. Now he's in trouble.
Yeah, Tony has got right onto him. That's going to be a gauntlet locking him in. He's trying to find the damage. Oh, he sustains through it. He's going to get a second kill here. He's not going to go down. Poison Shiv, 15 Breaking Point stacks. Kigaza just had the fancy footwork enough to avoid the damage and keep himself alive. The turret, it looks like it may fall as Wolfie's going to come in and finish the job, even find a kill perhaps onto this Scarf, but not going to go too risky. 2,000 gold lead accumulated by the Halcyon Quakes.
What a great play by Kigaza. They're able to survive throughout that fight. Sliver of health was all that he needed. Can that sustain with that much Breaking Point stack was absolutely crucial. And able to now take that first turret. Both teams taking a turret though, but it is a gold lead for Halcyon Quakes. And again, we're wondering who's going to find the first opportunities.
Well, a fight breaking out, and it is just going to be Steve Bowie falling now with their captain down. A huge opportunity for Halcyon Quakes to try and take a turret. They're going to dive, damage, silence Tony up. Perhaps a little bit late by Kigaza. Doesn't really achieve anything, but it looks like a Crystal Sentry is on the cards here. Viet Gold looking to come and try and keep it alive, or at least poke down with their range, but they have to be careful they don't get engaged upon. And but it's going to be Viking landing Impale. Gifting Ward doesn't connect to Rose offensive, but here comes Wolfie. Dragon's Breath for the fortified health will not keep him alive, and Halcyon Quake's going to stagger those respawns. Are they going to go for a Kraken here? Seems like they will.
They're going to at least start it up. This is a bit risky with, I mean, they don't have the Scarf to try and stop this, though, so it's not that bad of a decision. Kigaza and Wolfie going to have to be ready to run interference. That's exactly what they do. They turn their attention back to Kraken. Kraken's not going down terribly quickly. However, because Wolfie was not on it and has the Storm Guard banner still, so still no Storm Crown to help expedite the process. But they're committed to it now. Kraken's over 3/4 captured, and they're just gonna stick on this.
Yeah, they got themselves some
Just kidding.
executions. That's a huge impale onto Viking. They're looking for the fight, but Viking's going to find a kill. In the process, the Fountain was late from Halcyon Quakes. Now Kigaza, he's going to find another. The Kraken down to half HP as long as that Spitfire is dodged. Kigaza, no! Okay, he's going to charge forward. They should have just taken the Kraken there, but Kigaza thought somehow he was going to 1v1 the Scarf, and that is going to be... Go on.
I think they just thought they were too low to go for the Kraken with how much health the Kraken still had. I just don't think they had I don't think they thought they had the damage to take it down because they were both well under half health. And with Scarf right there, that was super, super risky if they had just gone for the Kraken.
Yeah, no, I think you may be right there. I think there was still... Well, I know they could have taken the Kraken. Like, there was the ability to finish it off, but it would have been reliant on Trung Bui and how confident he was in putting up disturbance and disruption, because if he was to land a Spitfire onto a low HP target, then that was a kill. So the wise move made, not giving anything up, just resetting the pace of the game, but Kigaza going to be surviving. That's a good Giffian's Wall. Sign's going to come through, and the Impale roots up this Arden. There's no Gauntlet to escape. He's locked down once more, but now they're turning Tony, trying to find the kill. Kigaza looking for the damage. That's the first kill going over, and that's going to be a Scarf running for his life. It's going to be to no avail, though. Wolfie and Kigaza will finish the job, and with the carries down, Crystal Sentry will fall for a second time, and the Kraken this time will be taken.
Yeah, this one will not be contested, and this is going to be Halcyon Quakes starting to pick themselves up a sizable advantage. This is something we saw from Viet Gold in their first series as well, where they stick with their opponents for some time, but just once it comes down to the end game, their actual team fighting ability does not seem to be on par with their opponents, and the micro play is able to carry their opponents through and into these team fight victories that then lead to big objectives. And that's where Halcyon Quakes are at right now. They've got these big objectives. They're winning the team fights. They've got themselves a 4,000 gold lead, and they're going to be looking to see how much work they can get done, maybe even try and end the game if they find another team fight here.
Yep, well, the first turret's going to go down before the Kraken gets involved, and that's huge for the Quakes. Impale lands onto the Black Feather. Giffian, we're going to lock him into place, and just going to land some damage down. Wait for it, flies out. Good silence coming through. They are now, with the Kraken, going to take down this this Crystal Sentry, it seems, and finish it, eliminate it from the map. Kraken down to half HP. They need to finish this turret. Viking going to charge forward. That's a stun onto the Black Feather. They dodge away through the Gauntlet. Everyone getting out safely. The Dragon's Breath being channeled. Fountain flies out, but that's going to be Scarf up against the wall, and Trung Bui trying to escape, but not going to be able to. Kraken, half HP, just under a chance now to finish the game for the Halcyon Quakes, but they have to be careful. Tony dives on in. Atlases down the Vox, sustaining through. Got the breaking point stacks up to 9 now, and the turret falls. Tony dummy onto Kigaza, and he is going to find the kill, but Wolfie should be able to finish him off. This will be game, I think, as Wolfie just needs to focus on the objective. Now, you just ignore the Arden at this point and just finish the game if you're the Quakes. The Kraken will help you massively. Here comes Scarf, Trung Bui up in 2 seconds, but look at the Bane Crystal. It's losing its life, and Trung Bui just cannot do anything to stop this game, I don't think. Wolfie dodges the Spitfire with ease, and game 1 of this elimination bracket goes to Halcyon Quakes.
And it was a well-played game from both teams for the first 15 minutes or so, but then from there, Halcyon Quakes stepped up to another level, kicked it into gear, and were able to start finding repeated team fight victories. Great job by them, able to find a victory in game 1. And I really liked the strategy that they used of just focusing on picking one target and just eliminating them, making sure that these fights became 2-on-3 as quickly as possible. They did a really good job of choosing their targets when we got down the stretch.
For sure. Scoundrel, MVP, I have to say, was you for observing the game for the guys at VGL on an iPad. But I don't know if you have any points you want to add to the victory of Game 1 for Halcyon Quakes.
I think a lot of it came down to Kigaza hitting certain item spikes and then playing around those. Obviously, Wolfie then able to capitalize on some of that early game lead that he had. Again, I think that Tataka was a great pick. I just think Tataka was a really solid pick into how the way they were trying to play. And Viking on this Lance is one of the heroes that he's known for. When he used to play for XL, I have a bit of insight because I used to obviously I've been with XL in sort of seeing how they've grown as a team over the last few months, and Viking used to play with them. I know that he was pretty well known for his Lance when he played for XL, so he got a comfort hero there for himself. But as we go through, this is a big result for not only Kigaza, but for everybody else in that team, because obviously they are coming into an elimination bracket now. This is now do or die, especially for Viet Gold. They have to win this, Dalsy.
Yeah, no, they do, Viet Gold, and it doesn't seem like they have quite found the winning combination just yet. They struggled for sure in their series against the midgets earlier, and right now Halcyon Quakes are giving them a bit of a trouble as well. Halcyon Quakes seeded 31st to the 18th of Viet Gold. We thought 15 and 18 would be a pretty close matchup, but it seems like Viet Gold, some high-ish ELO players, not quite finding the synergy necessary to really be executing.
Yeah, I'm just getting the teams that again. Viet Gold using that big roster that they have, going to sub in ZZ Story coming back in for these guys for this next game. We're going to wait for all teams to be ready and raring to go, and then we'll get this game underway. Just an update on some of the scores. All of the Group 1 games were 2-0 sweeps, by the way, so I've been told. So everything in Group 1 was a 2-0 sweep, including Leon's team, Calamity Reborn. They got a 2-0 sweep. XL, they got a 2-0 over their opposition K4. Angry Pandas Black actually lost, I believe. Angry Pandas Black actually lost to Rex Gaming. So Rex Gaming beat Angry Pandas Black. That was an upset. Salty Potatoes, they took their team took their win pretty easily. Minotaurs upset Audacity, 25-8 seed. Minotaurs win and go through, and that means Audacity and Angry Pandas Black are currently playing for an elimination match. So we'll give you the update for that as we go on. I think teams are both ready to go. And if that is the case, we will get underway. Dalsy and Tasty Bacon.
Tasty and Dalsy. I was trying to think of a combination. Could we call it Tasty Dalsy or Bacon Dalsy? Dalsy Tasty? I don't know. Tasty Bacon. It just is. It doesn't go together as Tasty Dalsy will have to be it.
What about? See, I was going to say tasty, but then it just sounds like tasty.
Yeah.
What about Dow Bacon?
I'm on board with it.
You didn't think of Dow Bacon?
I didn't think of Dow Bacon or Dalkin.
Dowkin.
Yeah. We could go with Dalsy as well. If you let's get into the.
I just don't think your name is
Dousty Bacon. There we go.
Dousty Bacon. I like it actually. Dousty Bacon. The Dousty Bacon cast is coming your way, ladies and gentlemen, for this elimination match between
Grumpjaw Baron Band.
Between Grumpjaw Baron Band and the other team.
Adagio, Catherine picked. That's the teams for you. So Adagio for Halcyon Quakes, the first Adagio we've seen of today. It's going to be a Catherine and a Samuel picked up for Viet Gold. Catherine received her buff on 2.5 Tasty Bacon, double the resistances per stun and ultimate hit.
Played a lot of Catherine after that patch came out.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
Update.
I've seen a lot of Catherine. I mean, not even funny. Catherine has been flooding my solo queue games, but I do think she's pretty solid, you know?
Yeah, no, I'd agree. And ooh, look at this. That's interesting. Is this going to be a Idris in the jungle? Or no, it should be Idris in the lane, you would think, and a jungle glaive.
I mean, all three of these heroes can be flexed pretty heavily. I mean, Adagio can play all three roles, but is almost certainly the captain here. And then both Glaive and Idris can go jungle or lane. So we're going to have to just kind of wait and see where they end up after the swapping takes place. But in the meantime, Tony, gonna be looking for redemption on this Jewel, but we were not very thrilled with his Jewel play in their previous series. Hopefully he will have a much better performance this time around.
Well, gentlemen, it's that time again. Maybe, if Kigaza's team can do it, the Halcyon Quake, if they can win this, will be the last time for tonight. Dalsy and Tasty Bacon, take it away.
Thank you very much, Excalibur. And yeah, no, it's Halcyon Quakes 1-0 in this series, which means that they are a single game away from surviving the elimination bracket. And unfortunately, we'll say goodbye to Viet Gold. They aren't out of it yet. Tasty Bacon have a chance to strike back with this duel, which we saw earlier from them was a little bit dissatisfying.
Yeah, so opportunity here, like I said, for Tony to perhaps redeem himself after his earlier Jewel play. Let's see if they can make it work. It's going to be, looks like Higaza in the lane with the Idris, so it is that Jungle Glaive. And I still really love Jungle Glaive, even though we have seen it a lot more recently in the lane. But the ganks that are going to come out are absolutely devastating, especially onto someone like a Jewel. If you can just time it where you wait for the rocket leap to be used and then just go in on her, there's almost no escape possible.
Sure, and that's kind of where we're expecting for Tony to really shine, is if he is able to stun people down. But oh wow, look at that afterburn, and that is so much damage. The turret gets involved, and first blood's going to go over to Wolfie.
Or if you just find a kill before Rocket Leap is even available, that works too. You don't have to wait for it to be down if it hasn't been leveled up.
Yeah, that's it. And now Wolfie looking to be aggressive again. I'm liking this aggression from Wolfie. Was the thing we criticized him for in the early game previously was lack of aggression, but right now he's got himself that first kill and looks like he wants to take it to Chung Bui as well as they start up the Elder Tree camp, trying to find it. Looks like they are going to go in. They've got the heals. They've got Kigaza roaming down on the Idris as well. And Trung Bui throws out that Drifting Dark. Doesn't steal it away. Can they find an afterburn is the question. They're not going to look for it.
I kind of wish they would have. I think they definitely, with the 3-on-2 especially, had the opportunity to find a kill there, but they decided to just take the treant and be happy with that advantage. Kigaza up in the lane. Looks like it will be a Crystal Idris as well. They don't have that full lockdown comp that we saw from Isuba. King actually takes a lot of damage here, but obviously is an Adagio, so we'll be able to keep himself topped up pretty well.
And I've had some chats to Kigaza, specifically at London's Western Championship about Idris. He's a big advocate for Idris. Thought it's been pretty good for many patches, and he's also been a pretty big favorite of the Crystal Power Idris. Not that to say that the Weapon Power Idris isn't something he'll play, but he thinks that Crystal Power Idris is really strong in the late game, and thinks that because of that, it's worthwhile going for. With a Weapon Power Glaive, we're going to see that kind of glaive that you talked about before, Tasty Bacon, that we've seen in the lane recently. In the highest competitive play, the on-hit available, the massive damage on a knockback as well. It's going to provide a lot of threat to the Samuel if Trung Bui was ever to be afterburned.
Yeah, and if either of these carries gets afterburned, it's going to be a lot of damage, a lot of bursts to try and contend with. I do think that once we get later in the game, Trung Bui will be the target because you want to knock that Samuel out of the Drifting Dark as much as you can. So we'll have to keep our eyes on who Wolfie ends up targeting. So they're going to find Story here, not really going to be committing to an engage, though, just trying to get this pressure down. But here comes Trung.
Here comes the fight. No one finding the engage just yet. Story down to half HP, and with the Adagio on the side of Halcyon Quake, they do have a lot of sustain available to them, paired with the fact that you do have a Book of Eulogies purchased here for Kigaza for the lane. Wolfie, first item, Tension Bow, and it's going to be a Shutter Glass finish now for Kigaza.
And I have to give some credit to Tony right now. Has been playing very, very defensively since that first kill came through. And it's tough to keep a lane wave where it is. Well, oh my goodness.
Wow, look at that. He just gets destroyed. That is using your item spikes to a massive potential. Tension Bow just rips through him already, and the Shadow Glass does so much work. Story trying to tank up all this damage, but Kigaza reckons he's got a kill, and to be honest, an auto attack, a Chakram would find it, just not in range.
Nah, I almost feel like I should apologize. The caster curse coming through. Just finished talking about how Tony had done a good job of staying safe. He gets dove under the hood. He was still in a very safe position, but like you mentioned, those item power spikes meant that Wolfie and Kigaza, they didn't care about him being in a safe position. Wolfie went right under the turret, hit that big knockback with the afterburn, and Kigaza was able to finish that one off pretty easily. So nice job there by Halcyon Quake.
Certainly, and looks like they're going in for it again as Wolfie comes in looking for an afterburn. He's going to try and knock Tony out of position. Tony, though, waits his time out, and Wolfie is going to be punished. Great merciless pursuit, locks him in position by Story under the turret, and Tony was able to execute. Now Oblivion flies out, Viking sidesteps it easily. Tenjui going to try and land as much damage onto Kigaza as possible, but instead going to see if there's any jungle camps he can take away. Unfortunately for him, though, jungle was clean.
Yeah, really nice job by Story keeping Tony alive there with a stun right after the afterburn. Wolfie just didn't have an opportunity to make that connect. Because you got to figure, if it does connect, it's a kill. But they keep themselves alive, find their first kill of the game. Tony, looking at the CS numbers, doing a very good job. Actually,
Story's going to die. Oh, he popped the fountain last second. I don't understand what Story was hoping to achieve there. Sat in the bottom bush of the shop, saw Viking walk past, saw Viking go into the tri bush, and then followed him on less than a third of his HP. Really odd play by Story, and obviously been punished because the fountain's no longer up. Trung Bui is now going to struggle to stay alive. Wolfie may be in trouble, but a good block going to keep him alive. The fountain as well from Viking, but now Trung Bui is just an auto attack from death from Wolfie, and this turret is going to be under massive fire.
And like you said, no fountain available either. Good catch on that one, because I was watching the lane to see if there was going to be anything happening up there. Red button to clear out the minions, but like you said, so much damage done to that turret. This Crystal Idris is able to just absolutely siege up, probably better than almost any other hero.
Is Wolfie going to go down here? No, Trung Bui. Yeah. Trung Bui, bit of more than he can chew. Story's going to struggle to survive. That's going to be another fountain off cooldown. Tony able to find the returner onto Wolfie, and now going to charge into the lane. Kigaza reckons he's got the turret, but Viking's going to lose his life. Can Kigaza escape is the question. Doesn't have his cooldowns for quite some time. Throws out a Chakram. He could do a bit of a dance with the Shimmer Strike, use Story as an escape method, and there it is. And that's going to be him trying to walk away, but here's the rocket jump, and he just rolls away. The Shroud Step, escaping that Thunderstrike.
Very, very close, but Kigaza did get the turret as well, so all in all, that trade does end up being slightly in favor of Halcyon Quake, at least for now, because now it's going to be Viet Gold putting a lot of damage onto this turret themselves, but they don't want to commit to it, not without their captain being there.
They didn't have Fountain either. Story couldn't save anyone until now, because the fountains just came up. It makes things so difficult because the burst potential from Wolfie on this glaive is there. Goldmine is contested. Is it going to be stolen? Blast Tremor goes through, and they do steal it. Trung Bui with a Malice and Verdict. Wolfie going to try and punish. Chakram rips him apart. And that's going to be the kill going over to Wolfie. Story, he's going to run straight towards Tony. Tony dives on the Viking, looking to find the kill. Crucible to keep himself alive. Fountain, and there's fortified health as well from the Verse of Judgment. Does eventually fall, but leaves enough time to find the ace for his team.
And now this is Halcyon Quake with an opportunity to take another turret, but they didn't go straight for it. It's kind of interesting. It's going to be Wolfie almost falling to the Crystal Sentry. I don't think Kigaza is going to be able to take out this turret, not with Trung Bui here. So they lose out on the gold mine. They do get the ace. They get a good chunk of damage down to that turret and the sentry out of it, but I almost feel like they could have just gotten more. Viking went back to base, which I felt was very strange right after the ace came. Oh no, Viking went down.
He
I
went
believe,
dead.
right?
Yeah, he went
Okay.
back to base the quick route, which
For some reason, I thought like he just barely survived. But
it was Viet Gold teleporting him right back home.
yeah, it was the quick recall.
Yep.
Although, is it really the quick recall? Because your body kind of stays out there until you respawn.
Right. I guess you could say that you get back to. Oh yeah, I guess it just depends on how you can buy items when you're dead, so you're back at base, right?
You can buy most items.
Most
You can't buy
items, yeah.
infusion.
Yeah, that's true. Looks like a fight gonna break out. Story trying to find a. Okay, Story's all by himself. That was a bit odd. Chongbui went down. Tony went down as well, and Tony just got ripped apart by a Shrakram there. Key Gaz's damage is starting to scale up, but he's in a bit of trouble. Sticky situation, gets put to sleep, and that's gonna be him blown up. Wolfie trying to find a return kill, but he gets destroyed. It's Viking all by himself. An auto attack will kill Chongbui if he can get into range, but it just doesn't seem likely, and the potion's been popped to make sure it doesn't happen. Story with a merciless pursuit will finish the job. That's an ace going over to Viet Gold.
Oof, very reckless team fight there from Halcyon Quakes. I mean, Higaza got so much damage down, but I think got maybe too confident, went too far forward, got put to sleep, and a big Thunderstrike set him down. And then Tony able to also finally kill onto Wolfie, but now Higaza back in this lane, trying to stop the turret from going down. Not going to happen.
And for the gold is going to go back actually in favor, but they're going to lose Chongbui for their transgressions. An opportunity to try and take some pink off the map, I think, for the Halcyon Quake. Gold miner is starting to fill up. It would be a decent gold payout, enough to push them into the lead if they secure it.
And they are going to secure it. No contest going to come through from the side of Viet Gold. Even though they had vision of that happening, they do still have a few scout traps out on the map. But Halcyon Quake, we're starting to get to the point of the game where in game number 1 was where Halcyon Quake was able to start pulling ahead. Oh, Viking, though, ooh, he was in a very, very risky situation.
He has flares. He had 4 flares in his inventory and he face checked a mustache bush where he knew that at least one person was in the lane.
He is so lucky that they didn't just collapse on him in an instant. I think maybe they were afraid that Wolfie was right behind him on the side of Viet Gold, but that was risky to say the least.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why you have flares in your inventory, so you can scout the path ahead, make sure you know exactly where your opponents are. Kigaza, another risky move as he rolls forward, but it's going to be rewarded, and Wolfie's going to find a kill onto this duel. Story running away, Chongbui as well. Kigaza using the Shimmer Strike to get further forward, but he's going to have to escape Story here. Chongbui gets destroyed, and Story going to find himself on the same page here, as it looks like Viking and Wolfie trying to finish the job, and it will be Wolfie finding the kill, getting the heal as well, and just about surviving the turrets through a reflex block. Ace minions, Kigaza going to finish this turret.
And Tony tried to make a long shot play there with the big red button. Didn't actually connect. It would have killed Wolfie if it had, but that's going to be the tier 2 turret destroyed now. And once again, almost feeling a little bit of deja vu. Around 13 minutes or so, it looks like Halcyon Quake starting to really turn it up.
Yeah, they are. And it's this 2,000 gold lead. It's the item disparity. Kigaza's hit 3 damage items now on this Idris. And this is the point where CP Idris starts to become extremely viable. Wolfie with the Sorrow Blade, the Tension Bow is doing a lot of work, and it looks like he's going to build either into a Tornado Trigger or a Poison Ship. Most likely going to be the Tornado Trigger, I think, would suit the composition pretty strongly just for the extra bursts. But right now, with the push up that is there from Viet Cong. Oh, Viking once more. Okay, he flares the bush, but he didn't know they were further up. Tony with a misplay. They're going in. Chongbui's been left alone, and Vikings just playing distraction. The whole team went on to the captain, and it just left the Samuel so vulnerable. Tony turns to face Kigaza, and he's not going to find the kill just yet. Kigaza with the Shimmer Strike to escape. Another ace clean as for Halcyon Quakes, and they are now looking to push and try and just tank up this choke point turret.
And they have more than enough damage to be able to do so. So that turret is going to drop. They also took out that sentry once more. And so Halcyon Quake now with a commanding lead. The gold isn't really massive. It's about 4,000 to 5,000 gold, but the momentum is humongous. They're going to go ahead and get this gold miner, or at least start to. Yeah, Tony just jumps away from that. He wants no part of this. He gets dropped under half health just from a chakram and 2 attacks from Kigaza.
Now, 15 minutes, 5,000 gold in the lead. The Kraken has spawned. There's no choke point turret to defend your base anymore if you're Viet Gold, and you're facing the brink of elimination. This is when things start to get tough, as the next team fight could dictate your fate in the VGL Challenger Series.
It very well could. I mean, the next team fight could eliminate you from the Challenger Series if you're the side of Viet Gold. Now they're going to have to really try and figure out how they're going to approach this next fight with the Kraken up. Oh, but Story's gotten caught a bit.
He is down to half HP. Trunk Buoy throwing out damage, but oh, the burst, the Shroud Step. Oh, Kikaza too deep. They lose their Idris, but it might not be even meaning anything because Wolfie is so strong. Looking for an engage onto Trunk Buoy, knocks him against the wall and finishes the job with a spin. That's the ace coming through for the Halcyon Quake. And now taking this Crystal Sentry, they can go after it's eliminated and take the Kraken.
Yeah, Kraken gonna be worked on. It's not gonna go down before a respawn comes through from the side of Viet Gold, but I just don't know if they're gonna be able to get there in time to really put up much contest on it. It would have to be Story going straight to it, and they need to clear out these ace buff minions first. So Kraken is going to be captured by the side of Halcyon Quake and unleashed upon Viet Gold, and their hopes of attaining the challenge battles are slipping further and further away.
Certainly is. Kraken now, a huge threat. They need a clean team fight, a complete removal off the map, I think, of Wolfie and then perhaps Kigaza. I think it'd be the right combination. Really, they just need to win a fight, or else they're done here. Look at Wolfie, look at Kigaza, ready to go over the wall. Oh, it's a Shimmer Strike over, placing him in the dangerous position. Story looking to try and re-engage. Blast Tremor is going to go out, but was stunned, in fact, by Verse of Judgment. Interesting timing. That's going to be the turret going down. That's going to be a Chakram deleting Trunk Buoy from the map, and that might just be the last time he sees the Halcyon fold. Kigaza can't 1v1 himself. The Storm Guard reflects all the damage, and that's going to be Wolfie just finishing the job. The ace comes through. The Vein Crystal will go down. Halcyon Quake survive the elimination bracket.
Congratulations to Halcyon Quake again. It just seems like, Viet Gold, they are able to hang with their opponents for the first 10 minutes of the game or so, but then it just, once you get into that mid to late game, it starts to fall apart for them. Unfortunately, not able to find a series victory here in split one of the challengers, but Halcyon Quake, they are going to move on. And I mean, they looked pretty solid with their performance. Maybe some coordination issues in the early game, but once it got to the mid to late game, they were on point. They were very much a cohesive unit, and they made it happen.
They did. Now, unfortunately, we do say goodbye to Viet Gold, but Halcyon Quake lived to tell the story and fight. Do they fight tomorrow, Scoundrel, in the VGL, or is it next week? I can't remember if they get to a day off.
You're asking me, Dalsey? I have absolutely zero clue. Regardless,
Kigaza, he is the
admin.
Yeah,
we should ask Kigaza. He did just win, and he is also an admin, so he should be able to tell you. But yeah, honestly, that was a really fantastic game. I'm really happy to see someone obviously has put so much effort into VGL do really well. It's fantastic for him, fantastic for the team. Obviously, pay respects to Viet Gold. Everyone press F to pay respects. They obviously had a really tough series. Tony's duel not working out once more, but we say congratulations to Halcyon Quake. They are going to move on in that losers bracket or the elimination bracket, and they will survive to see yet another day. We are obviously going to be back tomorrow, by the way, guys, at the same time. Hopefully we'll have everything sorted out so we have no hiccups. At least we know that I can fix things on the fly if anything does go wrong. I guess that's a positive. We
Yes.
also have a Blitz tournament taking place on Thursday, of which Dowsey will be running the production, I believe. So it won't even be me doing the hosting. I'll be doing the casting for it, along with Tasty Bacon as well.
What? Scoundrel casting, that's hype.
I know. Scoundrel casting, what the hell? And obviously then Blitz coming this way is going to be fantastic. So we're going to be having a Blitz tournament on Thursday. I believe all the signups have been done and got dusted for all that already. But Blitz tournaments are always so much hype, and we're going to be having talents enabled, I believe. You can
Yes.
tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe talents are enabled for the Blitz
They are
tournament.
enabled. Yep, we wanted to really get the full Blitz experience with the tournament, and so we decided, you know what, we're going to enable talents. It's up to the teams to bring their A game, bring their talents along, and see all these. It's you got a unique rule set as well at Scoundrel. It's a best of 3 series, I believe, and you can only play a hero once during a series. So if a team picks Ringo first game, they can no longer play Ringo in the second game or the third game. And obviously, a B team, their picks are unique to them as well. So it means that we get to see a huge variety of heroes played.
Yeah, really, really excited. That was same with the. I think we had the same rule in the last Blitz tournament as well for VGL. It just gives you variety. You know, makes top tier players expand that pool to make sure we see everything that they've got to bring to the table. Right, that is it from us today. Thank you for everyone that stuck by with my entertaining yet horrific technical issues. Thank God we got it all back underway. Sorry about the resolution again, by the way, guys. I should hopefully get that fixed by tomorrow. Been a pleasure, as always. My name is Scoundrel, and obviously Dalsey and Tasty Bacon have been fantastic too. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow.